A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Several days ago, Larry Noble received an anonymous letter telling him that his wife is having him shadowed by detectives while he's in Hollywood, hoping to get evidence for a divorce. This came as a bitter blow to Larry, who had hoped Mary had forgiven him for being the unwitting cause of her recent suffering from acid burns inflicted by the jealousy-crazed Claudia Vincent. What Larry doesn't realize is that this letter was written by wealthy Rupert Barlow, who has become more and more obsessed by his infatuation for Mary, and is part of Rupert's plan to break up their marriage. Right now, on the street in Hollywood, Larry has brought his car to a sudden stop, forcing the car behind him into the curb. And as he walks back to speak to the other driver, we hear...
What's the big idea stopping like that, mister? Can't you hold out your hand?
I thought it might be a good idea for us to get acquainted, since we seem to be going to so many of the same places these days.
What are you talking about? I never saw you before in my life. Pull on up, will you, and let me get by.
In a minute, after I've delivered my message.
Go on. You must be nuts or something. I ought to have you pulled in for driving like that. I might have slammed smack into the back of your car.
Doesn't your company equip you with a car you can handle?
What's it to you, anyway? Why don't you get out of here and quit holding me up?
I just want to tell you... What's your name?
What do you care what's my name?
Just a matter of being pleasant. I don't have to tell you mine, nor where I live. You have all the facts at your command.
I told you I never laid eyes on you before in my life.
And I tell you that's a lie. You've been following me for days. Don't think I've been entirely blind to the fact.
You got me all wrong, mister.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to make a fuss about it. I just thought I'd let you know it's a waste of time to keep on following me.
All I want is for you to get that heap of yours out of the way so I can go on. That's all, mister.
I'll be glad to oblige you in a minute. Of course, if you don't want to stop following me, it's up to you. But you might put just one comment in your next report to your client.
Yeah? You know so much? Go on, finish.
Just say to this client of yours that I know all about this nonsense. I know who your client is and why you were hired. But I also know it's a waste of time and money. Just tell her that I'm perfectly willing to agree to any settlement she has in mind without all this game of cops and robbers.
What do you mean, tell her?
Do you want me to give you her name and address, where she lives on Long Island? Do you think all that will be necessary, Mr. whatever your name is?
Louis Wirtz. And you're barking up the wrong tree, mister.
All right, let it go at that. I just thought I'd give you a break. Now, you can do the same for me. Don't forget my message, Louis, in case you should decide not to follow me anymore.
Larry Noble returns to his car and to Dora Dean, who's been driving with him. Without a word of explanation to the astonished young screen actress, Larry drives on. Meantime, back in her home in Rosehaven, Long Island, Mary Noble's been very much disturbed by a telegram sent to her by Larry. Right now, we find her answering the door. And as she opens it, we hear...
Tom Bryson. Just the person I want to see. Come in.
Hello, honey. You feeling pretty good? Let's see.
I'm all right, Tom. I'm delighted to see you. It's awfully nice of you to come way out here like this. You must be so awfully busy now that you're back in New York.
The day I get too busy to say goodbye before you fly all the way to the coast, well, I'm going to give myself up.
Oh, is that why you came to see me?
Now, as an old family friend and a privileged character, I don't feel that I have to produce any excuses for my appearance. Maybe I came to take up my option on my room under the eaves before you turn it over to somebody else.
No chance of that, Tom.
And maybe I came up because I wanted to read you the latest draft of my new play.
I'd love it, Tom.
Liar. And anyhow, those aren't the reason. I just want to have one last visit with you before you leave for the coast.
I'm not going to Hollywood, Tom.
What? Well, you told me you had your reservation and everything.
Yes, I did. But things have changed since I talked to you.
Well, what things? Oh, did your doctor decide it was too much of a strain after all?
No, it wasn't his decision or mine.
Let's hear the rest of it.
I just got a telegram about an hour ago from Larry.
Well?
He said he thought it would be better if I'd wait.
Larry said that?
Yes. Would you like to see the message?
If you want me to, Mary.
It doesn't matter. I have it right here.
Uh-huh.
So you see, I've changed my plans.
Wonder what prompted the guy to say this.
Oh, I guess he thinks it would be a bad idea for me to fly out there. I realize he's very busy and that he'd have very little time, and of course
All right. You can stop the chatter, Mary. You don't have to gloss over the facts to me, honey. I'm Tom Bryson, your faithful friend. Remember?
Yes, of course, Tom. I know that.
All right, then. Now, anything I can do to help?
I don't believe so. Larry doesn't want me to come out to Hollywood, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't work a simple little telegram up into a great domestic crisis.
No, that's right, Mary.
Perhaps it's all for the best. Even though I'm lucky that my face has healed so wonderfully, I realize that I'm not really feeling any too strong.
Well, I'll bet you aren't. You had a tough siege of it in the hospital.
I'm afraid I'm letting little things upset me. There's really no reason for them to.
Oh? Little things like this telegram?
Yes, exactly. After all, it gives me a chance to accept Rupert Baller's wonderful invitation to go for a Caribbean cruise on his yacht.
What? You're not seriously thinking of taking up that silly invitation.
Why not, Tom?
I don't have to tell you that. You know better than I do.
But there's no reason why I shouldn't accept, Tom. There'll be other people on board. Rupert is inviting a number of his friends. And he's even going to take my nurse from the hospital, Miss Clark, along. It seems a pity not to take advantage of such a pleasant opportunity.
Now, wait a minute, honey. Not so fast. You're skipping over the most important part. Just look at me. Go on, straighten the eyes. Now then, try to say that again.
Don't let's talk about it, Tom. I'm so miserable.
Sure you are, baby. I know that. What I can't figure out is what's happened to the guy.
If I hadn't read that spiteful piece in Marty Rupert's column about Larry and some young actress out in Hollywood, I might not be so completely sunk. Tom, I can't believe Larry would deliberately hurt me. Or that he could know how I feel about this telegram. You talk to him in Hollywood. Tell me the truth. How was he? What did he say?
I don't know how I can explain it, Mary. I've known Larry Noble pretty well for a lot of years, but I've never seen him in such a state as when he got there. You couldn't get a civil word out of him. First, he seemed furious at me for dragging him out.
Poor Tom. You only found that picture contract for Larry because I begged you to do it. Did you tell him that?
Of course not. That would be the last thing I'd do.
Then it's something else.
Yes, I guess it must be. He arrived in Hollywood with a chip on both shoulders. But I think he's over that by now. He's been getting along very well with that studio. I know for a fact that Sam Marco thinks he's got a great thing in Larry.
Tell me something else, Tom. Have you met this girl, this Dora Dean?
No.
Has Larry mentioned it?
Yes, but very casually. As though she were just a nice kid. Certainly didn't indicate that he had any great interest in the girl. No, my impression was that she was just an enthusiastic kid who had a case of hero worship for Larry. Hate to think that he'd be guts enough to take her seriously. You'd think he'd be so darn grateful to you for everything you've done. All you've been through to get him out of the dismal mess he made out of his life, but that he'd never forget it. Even for a split second.
That's what worries me, Tom. More than anything else.
What do you mean, Mary?
I think you may have hit on the trouble. And if you have, I'm frightened.
Oh, no, wait. You're getting ahead of me again.
I don't want gratitude from Larry. I don't want him to remember that I helped to save his life by getting the evidence to convict Claudia Vincent. And I don't want him feeling responsible for the burns I suffered as a result.
I don't see how he can help himself, Mary.
But I don't want his gratitude, Tom. I want his love. Don't you see how hopeless our marriage would be if Larry felt guilty every time he thought of me? That's the fear that's always in my heart. Maybe I've made it impossible for him to have me close to him. Do you think that's possible? Do you, Tom?
I don't know what to say, honey. I haven't any idea what's lurking in the back of Larry Noble's mind. But I know, by heaven, if he hurt you like this, after all you've done for him, I'll attend to the guy myself.
Mary's face is a picture of sadness as she considers the future, with Larry several thousand miles away and perhaps forever out of reach. Be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
Ladies and gentlemen, the makers of Fatima cigarettes and the entire cast and crew and technicians of Dragnet respectfully dedicate tonight's program to the memory of Barton Yarbrough, who created and portrayed the role of Sergeant Ben Romero.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. 2 convicts escaped from a nearby state penitentiary in the early morning. According to reports, they're heading for your city. They're both armed. They're both dangerous. Your job, get them. Fatima, America's first, largest-selling blended cigarette. Now king size.
See the difference. Taste the difference. Smoke the difference. And in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, you get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Fatima quality that gives you extra mildness, a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
So compare Fatima yourself today. When you see the difference, taste the difference, smoke the difference, you'll switch to Fatima. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, April 24th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Ramel. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. It was 5 minutes past 8 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
Morning, Joe.
Hi, Crowley. How's it working out? Any more word on the escaped prisoner?
Nothing this morning, no. Captain likes to see you, Joe.
Okay. Ben check in yet?
No.
Getting a little late. Guess he was held up, huh?
Captain wants to see you right away. Some bad news, Joe.
Oh, what's the matter?
Maybe it'd be better if he told you.
Oh, all right.
Oh, morning, Joe.
Hi. Do you want to see me?
Yeah, come on in.
All right.
Sit down.
Yeah?
Got some bad news, Joe. Real bad.
What's the matter?
I know how much it means. I wish I didn't have to be the one to tell you.
Well, tell me what.
Sorry, Joe. It's about Ben. Something's happened.
Ben? Well, what do you mean?
We were notified about it early this morning. I thought about calling you. figured it'd be better if I told you in person.
Well, what's the matter? Is Ben sick?
He's dead, Joe. Ben's dead early this morning.
What?
Yeah, sorry. Heart attack happened a little after 6 o'clock this morning.
No.
Got out of bed, started dressing to go to work, went downstairs, put a pot of coffee on, made some toast. Wife heard him fall. She went downstairs and found him. Already dead. Went fast.
Look, I don't get this. It couldn't be.
Sorry, Joe. Means a lot to all of us.
Yeah, well, I still don't get it. Ben didn't have any trouble with his heart. He never mentioned anything about it.
Well, maybe that was the trouble. With his heart, all right. When his wife found him, she called the doctor and the fire department rescue squad. They worked over him for an hour. No use. And his wife called me. Enough to tear your heart out.
I can't believe it. What'd she say?
Well, she didn't break up. Too shocked to realize it, I guess. Sounded apologetic. She said, "I'm sorry, Captain. This is Mrs. Romero. Ben died this morning. I thought you ought to know. Ben's dead."
Oh, that's terrible. A lousy shame.
Kept saying the same thing over again. "I'm sorry, Ben's dead. I thought you ought to know. Ben's dead."
Yeah.
Joe Whitehead and I went out there right away, tried to talk to her. Wasn't much use.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You were with him a long time.
Yeah. 11 years. The day I came on the job, they assigned me as his partner. You know, this is a tough one. It's hard to believe.
It's tougher on his wife.
If it's all right with you, I'd like to go see her.
All right. I wish I could give you the day off, Joe. I know what it means to you. The escaped convicts thing, I just can't spare you.
Yeah, that's all right. I'd just soon work. I figure I ought to talk to Amy, though. Might help to take the edge off the fort, maybe.
Sure. Go ahead.
Joe? Yeah.
I know what it is. I've been on the job 19 years. Lost 2 partners. Good cops. One of them was killed in the line of duty. The other one worked at his job until he dropped. The same thing, Joe.
Yeah.
In my book, they both rate medals.
I left the office and went down in the elevator alone. I got in the car and I started over for Ben's place. I thought about what I was going to say to his wife. I thought about his little boy. I thought about Ben. 11 years I'd been working as a cop. And all of a sudden it wasn't the same anymore. I thought about the first day I met Ben. I was a rookie. I remembered what he taught me about being a cop. I thought about how much I owed him. I thought about the thousands of cops just like him all over the country. The ones that came before us, the ones that'll take our place. I thought about their lives and their homes and their families, what they meant, what their jobs meant. I thought about Ben. 11 years. Stakeouts, the early morning watch, interrogations, office duty. You could cover it in volumes or you could write it on the back of an envelope. He was a good cop and he was a good friend. There wasn't much else to say. It was a big loss. I stayed at Ben's house for about an hour talking to his wife. Joe Whitehead from the medical detail was there. All things considered, she seemed to be taking it fairly well. I told her I'd drop around later in the day, and then I checked back in at the office for work. Temporarily, Sergeant Ed Jacobs was assigned to work with me. The big problem at the moment was a pair of escaped convicts. Jacobs and I drove out to run down on a possible lead. 11:05 a.m. We got to the address listed, the Cathedral of St. Augustine. We checked in at the rectory, and then we went around to the church. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, it's a nice choir, isn't it?
Wonder if they're holding services.
No, choir's probably just practicing. You see the priest around anywhere, Ed?
No. Oh, yeah, there's someone over by the side altar there. Looks like a padre.
Yeah, come on.
Easter hymns. Feel
Yeah, they sure are.
It really takes me back. You'd never believe it, Gil.
What's that?
I used to be a boy tenor.
Excuse me, please.
Yes?
Are you Father Newman?
Yes, that's right. Can I help you?
Police officers, Father.
I see.
This is my partner, Sergeant Jacobs. My name's Friday.
Oh, Father. Housekeeper over at the rectory told us we could find you here. I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes if you got the time, Father.
Let's see. I have confessions starting at 3 o'clock. Leaves me about 10 minutes. What was it about, Sergeant?
Well, we're inquiring about a Stanley Blair, Father. We understand that you knew him fairly well.
Oh, yes, I do. Matter of fact, I read about him in the paper this morning. The trouble he's in. Is that what you wanted to talk about?
Yes, sir, that's right. We're making a check of all his known friends, his relatives.
Very unfortunate, isn't it? Did the newspapers have the story correct?
Yes, sir, I'm afraid so. Hey, I wonder if we could step outside, Father. We could talk out there without disturbing anyone in church.
Surely, Sergeant. This way, please.
Thank you.
Certainly a tragedy. I mean, happening at Easter time. I'll remember the boy in my mass tomorrow. Lord knows he can use some prayers.
Yes, sir, I guess he can.
Here we are. Bench there, if you care to sit down.
No, sir, that's all right.
The newspapers weren't too specific. How did he manage to escape the way he did? I always thought state penitentiaries were well guarded.
Oh, apparently Blair was one of the trusted prisoners. It's a minimum security prison to begin with, Father.
I see. I suppose Blair and the man he escaped with thought about it a good deal. According to the paper, it was well planned. When did they get away, last night?
Oh, it was this morning. Prison officials figure about 2 a.m. They slugged the guard and went over the wall. Somehow the two of them got hold of a gun, held up a motorist on the highway and stole his car. That's the last report we had.
Terrible. Do the police consider them dangerous?
Well, they're armed, Father. Both of them were doing time for robbery. They've both used guns before. How about possible contacts you might have out of town, Father? Can you help us there at all?
I'm afraid not, Sergeant. I think Stan knew some people in San Francisco. I don't know their names or addresses, though. I haven't any idea.
And there's no special person or place that you know of that he'd be likely to go if he heads back for Los Angeles?
No, none I can think of. You imagine he'd be likely to come back here?
We're not sure. Last report we had seemed to indicate Blair and his partner were heading this way. Prison's only about 40 miles away. Could be there in the city now.
I don't understand. I mean, with all the police looking for them, why would they come back here?
They probably figure they can find cover a lot easier than they could in some of the small towns.
Sergeant.
Yeah, Father.
Do you think they'll have trouble taking Stan? I mean, can they take him alive?
Well, we'll try our best to make it that way. It's like I told you, Father. He's got a gun. If he's cornered, there's a good chance he might try to shoot his way out.
It gets discouraging sometimes. I try to help them. I pray for them. Young thieves. I only hope they're all as lucky as he was.
How's that, sir?
The grotto back there in the garden. Figure of a man in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a statue of Dismas. One of the luckiest men who ever lived. I like to tell fellas like Stan about him.
I don't think I understand, Father.
You know the story of the crucifixion, the two men who were crucified with Christ. They were both thieves. A few minutes before he died, one of the thieves turned to Christ on the cross, confessed his crimes, asked our Lord to remember him. Christ told him, "This day you'll be with me in paradise." The man's name was Dismas. We like to call him the good thief.
Oh, yeah.
I told Stan about it right here in this courtyard. He should have remembered it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I told him you never give up hope. You can make the grade in the last 5 minutes of your life. Stan ought to know better. You ought to remember.
Sir?
The good thief. He made it with a prayer, not with a gun in his hand.
Before we left Father Newman, we gave him our card, and he gave us a list of 8 names and addresses, people in the neighborhood who'd known the escaped convict, Stanley Blair, before he was sentenced to the state penitentiary to serve time on his robbery conviction. 3:15 p.m. We met with Sergeants Max Herman and J.E. Crowley from robbery detail. We divided the list of names in half, and we began checking them out. Ed and I didn't have much luck on our end. Most of the people we talked to told us that they knew Stanley Blair, but none of them had seen, heard from him, or knew anything about his activities or his family since Blair had gone to prison 2.5 years before. Stakeouts were set up at 2 of the hottest places. 5:20 p.m. Ed and I went back to the office. Crowley was waiting for us.
No luck on our end either. Same thing. Last they heard of him was when he was sent up.
I guess that finishes it. Any late reports at all?
Yeah, his teletype from the sheriff's office. It was waiting here when Max and I got back. Guess our hunch was right. Looks like they headed this way.
Well, how do you mean? Somebody spot him?
Just this side of West Covina. Held up a grocery store, slugged the owner. Got $23.40. Not going to take him far.
Descriptions match out?
Yeah, perfectly. Suspects believed to be two prisoners who escaped this day from California Institution for Men Chino. Stanley R. Blair, Wesley A. Russell. There's something else.
Yeah?
The grocery store they knocked over, they picked up another gun, the owner's. Description and serial numbers on it here. Had 20 rounds of ammunition, too. Supplementary APB's already out on it.
How about a car? They switch over?
They have. We don't know about it. Apparently they're still using the Buick coupe they took from that motorist this morning. No reports on it, though.
It's a queer one. You'd think somebody'd spot it. They got the highway patrol working this?
Highway patrol, sheriff's office, our department, everybody you can name. By the way, you had R&I pull their mugshots, didn't you?
Yeah, both of them, Blair and Russell. They're running off the duplicates now. 500 of them should be about ready.
Pretty good shots?
Mm-hmm. Stand-up mugs, fairly recent. They were made the last time we had the two of them through here.
Well, how about that other list of their friends and relatives we pulled from their packages? Young and McCaleb were checking them out, weren't they?
Probably still are. No word from them yet. How do you size the two of them, Joe, Blair and Russell?
I don't know. It's a tough combination. Russell's older. He's got the experience. Blair's younger. He's got the nerve. Any way you figure it, it's not going to be easy.
Guns and the ammunition they grabbed, they ain't going to help much either.
I guess the roadblocks are up, huh? Highway patrol take care of that?
Yeah, all set working now. All our special details have been alerted. Airports, bus depots, train terminals, just about everything covered. Robbery Crowley. Yeah, Mike, how is it? Mm-hmm. You'll stay on it, huh? Right. See you later. McCaleb, he and Young are still checking on friends of Russell, some of the places he hung out.
Any luck?
Nothing yet. Either one of you see the captain on the way in?
No, he said he'd be over at the sheriff's office, didn't he?
Hot shot.
I'll get it. Yeah. What is it? Clothing store out on North Fig, 211 and slugging. They're sure moving fast.
Same?
You got it, Blair and Russell. 5:55 p.m. A supplementary broadcast and an all-points bulletin were gotten out immediately on the two escaped convicts. While Crowley and Herman stood by at the office, Ed Jacobs and I picked up duplicate mugshots of the suspects and drove out to the scene of the robbery, a men's clothing store near the intersection of North Figueroa and Merced. We showed a group of mugshots to the victim and two witnesses, and they definitely identified Blair and Russell as the hold-up men. The robbery had netted them less than $20. We relayed all the information we got back to communications immediately, and another supplementary broadcast was gotten out on the two fugitives. An hour later, at 7:05 p.m., Blair and Russell hit again, this time at a sporting goods store in the San Fernando Valley. It netted them $94, a .30-30 hunting rifle, and 200 rounds of ammunition. According to the broadcast, they were last seen heading north through the valley in the Buick coupe, the original escape car. 7:38 p.m., Ed Jacobs and I got a call to return to our station. We went back to the city hall.
Got a hunch, Joe. It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, it's a rough one. Guns and ammunition. If they want to make a stand, they're all ready for it.
Can't see how they can go too far in that hot car. Roadblocks set up. Somebody's bound to stop them.
Well, they're doing all right so far.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
Friday, Jacobs?
Jack Captain, want us in here?
Not for long. Keep your coats on. The rest of the men have already left.
What's the latest?
Yes. Communication from the Ventura Sheriff's Office. Blair and Russell were spotted just across the county line. Sheriff figures they got them boxed in.
How close?
A lot of territory, 20 square mile circle. They say they got Blair and Russell tied down inside, and they're on foot. We're sending up men to help out. You're two of them.
20 square miles going to take a lot of men.
Well, if we need more, we'll get them. It's no easy touch. They're desperate. You heard the latest?
No, what's that?
Last place they hit in the valley, they served notice they're not going to be taken alive, either one of them.
That's good sales talk. What do they got to back it up?
3 guns and a load of ammunition. If we want to take them alive, they swear it'll cost us 10 men. They'll kill 5 cops apiece. You any ideas?
Yeah. Let's make liars out of them.
You are listening to Dragnet. Authentic stories of your police force in action.
Fatima, America's first, largest-selling blended cigarette. Now king size.
See the difference. Taste the difference. Smoke the difference. And in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, you get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
You see, Fatima contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos, superbly blended.
And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Fatima, definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
No wonder more smokers now insist on king-size Fatima than ever before.
Friends, try Fatima. Buy several packs. Compare them over the last weekend of the old year. We're convinced you'll start the new year with Fatima. Yes, when you see the difference, taste the difference, smoke the difference, you'll switch to Fatima. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Saturday, April 24th, 9 p.m. Along with Captain Didion and a dozen other men from robbery detail, Ed Jacobs and I left the office and headed north up through the San Fernando Valley. The area where the two escaped convicts were reportedly surrounded was just on the outskirts of Ventura County line. On the way out, we stopped for a minute and I phoned Ben's house. His wife had been given a sedative and she was resting. Her folks were with her. 10:15 p.m. We arrived at the meeting point on the edge of the blockaded area from which the search was being directed. Communication facilities had been set up along with a field kitchen to feed the men taking part in the hunt. There were over 500 of them. From our office, the L.A. Sheriff's Department, the State Highway Patrol, the Ventura Sheriff's Department, and a couple of dozen private citizens who lived in the area. Together with Max Herman and Crowley, Ed Jacobs and I took up our position in the line of men that stretched north and east, then north again, circling the entire area. 20 square miles of it. The line drew slowly inward. 12 midnight. 1 a.m. No sign of the suspects. We stayed at it.
You get no idea of the size of these hayfields till you start hiking them.
Well, throw the light over there, will you, Ed? Irrigation ditch there.
Right there? That it?
Yeah. That's okay. It's a long hike. I'd sure like to see some of that hot coffee pretty soon.
Yeah, same here. Nice setup they got, huh? That field kitchen?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe! Joe Brady!
Yeah, Crowley?
You got the riot gun, haven't you?
Yeah, we got it.
You want to set up another flare? Towards the clump of trees. Over this way. Light it up good, huh?
Okay, Crowley.
About a 45-degree angle, Joe. That ought to do it, huh?
Yeah, okay.
That ought to do it. Really lights it up, doesn't it?
Well, you got any extra magnesium shells there, Ed?
Yeah. Let me get one right here. Here you are.
Thanks. There we go.
Friday, that you?
Yeah, Captain, over here.
No use beating the brush here anymore. We're moving up 3 miles north.
How come?
Blair and Russell, they hit again, kidnapped an old couple from a farmhouse.
They still on foot?
Yeah, as far as we know, they're hemmed in a 2-square-mile area. They may try to break out, use the old couple for a shield.
Well, where's that leave us?
I don't know.
You think they'd harm the old couple?
They kidnapped them. They're desperate. You figure it.
1:45 a.m. All of the men in the search party were shifted north to the area where the two escaped convicts and their kidnapped victims were last seen. 2 officers were sent to each farmhouse in the immediate neighborhood to make sure that the suspects and their victims were not hid out or that they were being held as hostages. The officers were ordered to remain at the homes in the event that Blair and Russell might try to find cover. The searching party moved in slowly over the affected area. We knew for certain the suspects were still somewhere inside. 2:15 a.m. Still no sign of them. The lines drew in closer. 2:30 a.m.
Can't be much longer, that's sure.
Yeah, well, I can't understand it. We should have jumped them by now.
It's only a few hundred feet to go. There's the other line closing in toward us. Wonder if they could have slipped through.
Beats me, Ed. Who's that coming? Can you see?
Yeah, looks like Crowley. Yeah, huh? That's him.
Joe? Ed?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Over here. You got any word?
They found the old couple tied up in an irrigation ditch half a mile south of here.
They all right?
Yeah, they're okay. The old lady's forehead, bad head wound. She was slugged. She and her husband have been taken to the hospital.
How about Blair and Russell?
No word. Just heard the captain ask for the car with a loudspeaker. He's over there now with Sheriff Durley.
Well, they couldn't have gotten through the lines. They got to be around here somewhere.
Doesn't figure we combed every foot of this neighborhood.
Attention all officers. Attention all officers. This is Captain Didion. Return to your posts immediately. The search has been canceled. The search has been canceled.
How about that?
I don't know. Come on, let's find out.
There he is, just getting out of the car. Captain?
Yeah.
What's the matter? Are we giving it up?
No, maybe we've been going at it backwards. We've been trying all night to jump them. Got a new idea.
Yeah?
Maybe we can make them jump us.
2:48 a.m. Captain Didion and Sheriff Durley ordered the men to return to the sheriff's office. With the exception of 2 deputy sheriffs, Captain Didion, Sheriff Durley, and Ed Jacobs and myself, the rest of the searching party vacated the area. The plan was to give the general impression that the search had been called off in the hope that it might bring the suspects out in the open. Because of the darkness and the early morning fog settling over the terrain, we knew that the odds were all against us. Captain Didion and Sheriff Durley decided instead to try and lure Blair and Russell from wherever they were hiding out. Each of the small farmhouses in the immediate neighborhood, 8 of them in all, were already under surveillance. Each of the occupants were requested to park their cars in a conspicuous place outside their homes with the distributor heads removed. They were asked to turn all the lights off in their houses. In the event they heard anyone trying to start their cars, they were to remain indoors. Ed Jacobs and I were assigned to cover 2 of the houses. The other men covered the rest of them. The 2 houses that Ed and I were assigned to cover were separated by about 500 yards. We staked out in between the 2 of them. We waited. 4 a.m., 4:30.
Sure cold, huh?
Yeah.
Fog goes right through you. Gonna be getting light pretty soon. And Joe, I just remembered.
Yeah, what's that?
Easter morning. Wonder how long this is gonna go. I promised to hide Easter eggs for the kids today.
Yeah, if it's gonna break, it has to break soon. Be daylight in a half hour or so, and they won't have a chance then.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute.
Farmhouse down on the left?
Yeah, sounds like it. Come on.
Can you see the car?
Wait a minute. Yeah. You cover the passenger side. I'll come up on the driver's side and watch it.
Joe, hustle. They're getting out of the car.
All right. Hold it up. Police officers.
Watch it, Joe.
Blair, Russell, you haven't got a chance. Throw down the gun. All right, Ed, let's give it back.
All right, don't shoot, don't shoot.
Throw out the guns. Come toward us with your hands open.
Don't shoot, West. Do what they say. Come on out. Don't shoot, West.
All right, come on. Keep coming. That's far enough.
All right, cover him, Ed. I'll shake him down.
Yeah.
No break here.
Look out, Joe. All right.
You want to throw the cuffs on him?
Yeah, right.
I'll go get the car. You want to keep him covered, Ben? Excuse me, Ed. Ed, I mean.
It's all right. Too bad he wasn't here tonight.
How can you tell for sure?
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 16th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, we all hope that you enjoyed listening to Dragnet in 1951. We all like to think that you'll be with us during the new year. On our part, we hope to do 2 things. To bring you the kind of entertainment you want, and to introduce you to Fatima. Fatima, America's first largest-selling blended cigarette, now king-size. And believe me, it's the best of all king-size cigarettes. So next time, buy a pack of Fatimas. Compare them yourself. When you see the difference, taste the difference, and then smoke that difference, I'm convinced that you'll switch to Fatima. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
and Wesley Russell were tried and convicted on 3 counts of first-degree robbery and 1 count of kidnapping. They received sentences as prescribed by law. First-degree robbery is punishable by imprisonment from 5 years to life. Kidnapping is punishable by imprisonment for not less than 1 nor more than 20 years. 1 count of escape is still pending. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Heard tonight were Barney Phillips and Vic Perrin. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes has brought you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the material and quotations used on the following program are taken from authentic news reports off the wires of Associated Press and International News Service. We present this material without editorial comment, since this station takes no official stand on any controversial question. We can, therefore, assume no responsibility for the attitude such statements reflect.
From San Francisco, the American Broadcasting Company presents 1 out of 7. "24 hours make a day, 7 days make 1 week. And from these past 7 days, the editors here in our San Francisco newsroom have chosen the one story which they have judged most worthy of retelling. This is 1 out of
7. We're not here to tell you what is good or what is evil, or to tell you what is right and what is not right. Being only men as you are, and thus being as moral or as immoral as you are, we refuse to mount the seat of judgment to pass sentence on those as guilty or as innocent as we claim ourselves to be. Now, we ask only that you pause, observe, and reflect. You have an intelligence of your own. Judge these actions for yourself. Last week, beneath the spacious skies of America the Beautiful, in the valleys of the amber grain and the fruited plain, and in the city towers looming high with the majesty of purple mountains, the people rejoiced and rededicated themselves in a nationwide Brotherhood Week. Lofty and ideal were the speeches of Brotherhood Week. Stirring and altruistic were the pledges and promises of Brotherhood Week. Godly and charitable were the aims of Brotherhood Week. But there are 2 families in San Francisco who are asking questions. 2 families. City desk, Martin.
Say, boss, here's a pretty fair yarn on an eviction case. You want it?
Yeah, sure. What's it all about?
Well, it seems there's a gentleman out in one of the residential districts who objects to the presence of a Filipino family in the neighborhood. There's also a Chinese family living nearby that, it doesn't appeal to him either.
Yeah, go on.
Well, this gentleman says that the fact that these 2 families are living near him detracts from the value of his property.
Well, what's the matter? Does he have something against them?
Oh, no, nothing like that, boss. He just says that when he moved there, he was told that it was a neighborhood for white people. White people only. One of those restricted deals, you know? Well, now he's filing suit to have them evicted. Says he's losing money if they stay.
What about the 2 families? What have they got to say?
Well, they're plenty burned up about it. They're organizing, yeah, to fight the Neighbor Boosters Club who's behind this gentleman. One of the members of the Filipino family is, he's a Navy veteran, and he gave me a pretty good quote.
Well, go ahead. Let's have it.
Okay, boss. He says, "Is this what we've been fighting for? To have a bunch of stay-at-homes throw us out of our house?"
No, we're not here to
tell you what is right and what is wrong. We wish merely to report that last week the nation observed Brotherhood Week. In the churches and town halls throughout the country, the people rededicated themselves to the principles of tolerance and charity of the Founding Fathers. Columbia, Tennessee. A little more than 24 hours ago, the worst racial disorder in years, brought about by rumors of threatened lynching of Negroes, sweeps the city. 500 highway patrolmen raid a 2-block area in the Negro section of the town where the non-white are carefully segregated. Armed with pistols and machine guns, the huge force of police search every Negro building in the area. Under the command of the State Director of Public Safety, the patrolmen fire withering blasts through the windows of the homes of the buildings. Groups of the Negroes huddle behind barricaded doors, answer the machine gun fire with 2 or 3 scattered shots. More than 40 Negroes are arrested during the raid. The State Director of Public Safety describes the police exploit as a success. The origin of the bloody race riot is not clear, but it is reported that it started when a Negro woman and her son had a fight with a Navy veteran. The Negro couple were arrested, and it was then, according to one Negro, that the lynching rumor fired the town. Isn't that right? Well, we heard that the white men were going to have a lynching party tonight, and, well, we didn't like that. We didn't want any killing to start again.
And so, brethren, let us again renew our faith in Christian charity, in the principles of brotherhood that Christ himself handed down to us. And let us again resolve to act and live by the precept that we are all brothers, regardless of the color of our skin or the creed we profess, that we are all brothers in the house of the Lord.
We're not here to pass judgment on what is good and what is evil. We wish merely to report that last week, in a nationwide celebration marked by pledge and promise, the people observed the annual custom of Brotherhood Week. In a large eastern city, time, Thursday of last week, a Jewish newspaper editor and his family stand outside their burning home, huddled in firemen's capes against the cold of the early winter morning. I'm from headquarters, Mr. Byrne. I heard about how the fire started in your house. Do you expect anybody or suspect anybody in particular?
Well, no. I could not tell you the name of the man. I don't think I know him. But lately I've been receiving phone calls and a few letters, too, warning me about the editorials I've been writing in my district newspaper.
Well, what were those phone calls and letters all about, Mr. Byrne?
Well, they said I was trying to make our district into a ghetto and a Negro colony because I've been opposing a drive by the neighborhood club to keep out all the Jews, Negroes, Italians, Chinese. I think you know, officer. You must have heard.
Yeah, I've heard, Mr. Byrne. I guess this is their answer, huh?
Yes. Tonight there was another telephone call, and then about 1 o'clock, my wife and I were...
All right, George. Light the torches and let them fly. We'll teach that Jew a lesson he won't forget. Come on, let's get out of here.
You see, it is not our place to pass sentence on the incident. For we're only men as moral or as immoral as you are, or as they are. We wish only to point out that last week was Brotherhood Week. Several appropriate speeches were made, and the people as a whole pledged themselves to tolerance and charity. The annual observance was acclaimed a success throughout the nation. Priests and ministers. This is a story which probably will not receive the circulation it deserves. It concerns an incident which occurred last week at a southeastern Navy station here in the United States. And if my guess is right, it should give many a citizen cause to stop and ponder the worth and aims of our lately won victory. It all happened in one of the mess rooms at this particular Navy base where a group of officers... Now, look, I don't care what anybody says. It's all the fault of the Jews. Now, look, I was in the Pacific, yeah. And all the time we're sweating it out over there, the big Jews back in the States are demanding that we defeat Germany first, while the men in the Pacific starve and sweat it out. Now, oh, no, you can't tell me a thing about those Jews, brother. I know exactly what they're like. You can have them. I beg your pardon, Commander. I'm a Jew, and I think you're very mistaken in what you say. Well, now listen here, Mr. Goldstein. You're a lieutenant. The Constitution may say that I have to serve in the same Navy with Jews, but there are no Navy regulations that say I have to eat at the same table with them. Now, you other gentlemen will excuse me. Last week was Brotherhood Week. Last week was Brotherhood Week. Down through the rain, down through the wet, glistening street he came, his head bared, his frayed coat collar pulled tightly around his neck, a wide, ugly cut on his forehead, still bleeding, a monstrous bruise covering the side of his face. But strangely, I noticed he walked straight up, his head high. He came up and he stood beside me at the bus stop. And after a while he said, You are wondering about me. Is that not so? This cut on my head and this bruise on my face? Why, yes, as a matter of fact, I was wondering about... Yeah, well, it looks like a pretty nasty cut, mister. Tell me, how'd you get it? Well, it all happened so suddenly, I still cannot remember everything. I try. Tonight, like every Wednesday night, we have our meeting down in the hall on the west side of the city, you know? Yeah, I know where that hall is. Well, on Wednesdays, the people who are of my race, well, we all meet together to learn about our new country, to study the language, and to try to be better Americans. But tonight, we have some visitors. They are a group of men, and they say, we cannot stay here because this town is for people of their race only. We say we will not go. And then there is a big fight. The men wreck our clubroom, they smash our furniture, and they fight with us. They tell us in loud voices, get out, stay out. But we fight back because we know the laws. The laws say these men are wrong. Oh, but the laws, they are not everything, are they? Well, no, they're not, mister. You'll find that out. Yes, we have found it out already. There are many things different about America than first I thought. Well, now, I must cross the street to the church. Would you like to come with me? I do not pray, you know. But I like to stand there in the church and say these things. It makes me feel better inside here after what has happened tonight. Well, I crossed the street with him and I went into the church. We sat down in one of the pews far back in one of the dark corners of the church. A few candles flickered uncertainly up at the altar. And after a long moment, he turned to me and he said, I do not hate these men who do such things. I am not bitter against them. Only I have so much pity for them. For is it not true? They are like frightened little children, afraid, running around looking for an enemy to fight. Anybody. But they do not see. The real enemy, he is inside them. Oh, they hate us. Yes, they hate us. But really, they do not know why. They would kill us. And then they would look down at our bodies and they would feel like little children who had just broken their toys. They see only the difference of color or language. And they become angry because we are not as they. Oh, it is so sad. And that is why I have so much pity for them. So blind. They are so blind. The sun is there waiting for them, shining warm and full over everybody. But their eyes are still closed, and all they can see is the darkness.
The script for 1 out of 7 is written by James Edward Moser. Gil Dowd is the producer, and music is by Otto Clare at the Hammond organ. All characters in tonight's performance were portrayed by Jack Webb. Listen next week, same time, same station, for 1 out of 7. Mark Jordan speaking. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. You receive a call from a former suspect you arrested. He wants to meet with you. He claims he has information and contacts with a big narcotics ring. Your job? Check it out. Fatima, America's first, largest-selling blended cigarette. Now king size.
See the difference. Taste the difference. Smoke the difference. And in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, you get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Fatima quality that gives you extra mildness, a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Definitely the best quality in its class, at the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
So compare Fatima yourself today. When you see the difference, taste the difference, smoke the difference, you'll switch to Fatima. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, August 9th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working a special detail out of Narcotics Division. My partner's Ed Jacobs. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. It was 7:28 p.m. when I got to Lincoln Park, the west entrance.
Yes, sir.
Got a couple of bags of peanuts, please?
Yeah, sure thing. 10 a bag, that'll be 20 cents.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Friday. Jack. Would have come over sooner. I saw you walking around the park. Wanted to make sure you weren't tailed.
Yeah, I made sure of that before I came in. Let's go over and sit down.
Okay. Say, there's a lot of stuff just came in town. Some new pushers came with it. You know that?
Yeah, I heard some talk.
Like to knock them over? I got the contacts.
What's in it for you, Jack?
A couple of reasons.
Yeah?
One thing I'd like to pay you back. I got out of jail last week. I talked to the wife. She told me what you've been doing for her and the kids while I've been up.
A nice family, Jack. You let them down.
And you didn't. I'm not going to forget it. Wife still has that job you got her. The kids' asthma's a lot better, too. Appreciate you finding that place in Tahunga for him. It sure helped.
I was glad to do it. Want some peanuts?
Yeah, thanks.
Now, what about this narco ring you mentioned?
Remember Snuffy Breen?
Yeah.
He busted in the same time he did me. Got a year.
Yeah.
Just before I got out of county last week, he told me to go see a guy, get me a job.
What kind of a job?
Same kind you busted me on before. Pushing the stuff.
What's the guy's name?
Cadillac Red.
Hmm?
Yeah. New York, I think. Likes to drive big cars. I guess that's how he got the name.
What's the story on him?
Red's been in town a month. 4 or 5 guys with him, all from the east. Red says they got a big one to unload, 6 kilos.
Heroin?
Mm-hmm. Mexican stuff. They seem to be having trouble.
What do you mean?
Finding pushers, setting up a deal. The only contact they had out here was Snuffy's and the can they're shopping around.
So what's more peanuts, Jack?
Yeah.
You talked to this Red, did you?
Mm-hmm.
What's he asking from you?
Like I said, he wants me to start pushing stuff for him. They need contacts bad. I let him hang. I didn't say one way or the other. He's going to phone me tonight.
Myself? What do you figure you'll tell him?
Depends on you, Friday. I know one thing. I'm not going to start pushing the junk again. You get around it, you handle it, you start to chippy with it. Before you know it, you hook yourself. You figure what you want to do, I'll help all I can. I owe you that much.
You pretty sure the gang needs contacts?
Hungry for them. Sitting on 20 ounces of junk. Can't find anyone to trust to push it to. They got problems.
Yeah. Think you could give me an office to him? Pass me off as a buyer? Friend of yours, maybe?
There's a chance. How do you want to do it?
Well, let him know you have a friend who's ready for a buy. Tell him I'm from up north. Make it Fresno. Red Mountain neighborhood's all right.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, this man, Cadillac Red, he's going to phone you tonight, is that right?
Mm-hmm. I'll call you as soon as I hear from him.
All right, fine. Don't call me at the office. Now, here. Here's my home phone. Don't worry about it. It's a silent number. I can't trace it.
Mm-hmm.
When you call there, if I'm not in, leave the message with my mother, okay?
Your mother, okay. Pleasant 49321. Okay, I'll ring.
How much do you know about this Red? You impress you as a big operator?
Middle size, I guess. He's out in New York. That's about all I know for sure. Same for the rest of the gang. He's supposed to be handling quality stuff real good.
How good?
Red claims he tests out 40%. I don't know what his asking price is.
Where's this Red staying? Did you find that out?
No, he wouldn't tell me. He was at a hotel on West 7th, but he moved yesterday. Memphis guy doesn't settle long in one place. Guess he's got a right to be shaky. All of them have.
How do you mean?
He got all that dough in the white stuff. Close to 50 G's worth. Kill him if you knock him over. Grab the junk.
We'll kill a lot more if we don't. Before I left our informant, Jack Wallace, we set up a plan for future contacts. In case of any emergency, I would not attempt to get in touch with him at his rooming house at 3rd and Olive Streets. Instead, I'd contact him at his work, the Joe Adonis Meat Market on West Temple, where he was employed as a butcher. Wallace also promised to try to get me a sample of the heroin from the narcotics ring. 10:50 p.m. I checked back in at the office and briefed Captain Kearney.
Sounds a little fantastic, Joe. 6 kilos. If it's true, it's a break a cop gets once in a lifetime.
Well, that's the way Wallace tells it. I can't figure any reason why he'd lie to me.
How about this front man, Red? You checked him out yet?
Well, Ed's checking him through the moniker file now. He's a New York operator. That's all Wallace could tell me.
You got any idea where the plant is?
No, I don't. Wallace didn't even know where Red was living. Red's supposed to have a meet with him tonight. I gave him my home phone, told him not to contact the office.
You got any court cases pending?
No, but I got 2 I was going to file on tomorrow.
You better give me the packages. I'll have Lou Walters assign them to somebody else. You and Jacob stay with this gang, put them to bed, and get them up.
All right.
Wallace is going to try to get you a sample of the junk, huh?
Yeah, he said he'd try.
Cap, Joe?
Hi.
Hi, Ed. You dig up anything?
I don't know. Found one Cadillac Red. Could be out of the way.
You get a mug on him?
No, all we have is correspondence from New York. There was a warrant on him back in 1945. Same thing, narcotics. Later that year, the warrant was canceled. He was picked up. No disposition. You want us to radiogram New York for a rundown on him?
No, let's not stir it up. Starting tomorrow, you two stay away from here. Get yourselves fixed up in a hotel room downtown. Let me know where you're staying.
Okay.
Call me at 2 o'clock sharp in the afternoon. I'll make it a point to be here. Better call me on the inside line.
Right, Skipper. Where do you think we ought to set up, Joe?
Oh, I don't know. How about Pop Sherman's place down there on Hill Street? He'll cooperate. You know what that stuff did to his boy.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to check in tonight?
No, my wife's going to scream her head off as it is. You better make it in the morning, huh?
All right, with me.
Narcotics, Kearney. Oh, yes, ma'am. Just a minute. From you, Joe.
Okay, thank you. Friday talking. Oh, yeah, Ma. Mm-hmm. Did he say what time? Yeah, okay. No, don't worry. I'll get a bite downtown and I'll be home. Yeah, okay. Bye. My mother, Wallace just called my home, left a message for me.
Yeah?
He had to meet with Red. He's got the sample. At 7:30 the next morning, Ed Jacobs and I checked in at Pop Sherman's Hotel on South Hill Street and took adjoining rooms. We'd left all possible identification in our lockers at the office. At 9:30 a.m., technicians from our crime lab arrived and installed a bug in my room and set up the receiver next door in Ed's room. In the event any of the gang happened to come to my room, they'd be able to record the conversation. I registered as Paul Lindsay, San Diego, California. Ed registered as Ray Morrissey, Sacramento. At 11 a.m., I went alone to Adonis Meat Market, where our informant, Jack Wallace, handed me a dummy package, which I took back to the hotel. Inside the package, I found a sample of the narcotics along with a note from Wallace. He wrote that he'd arranged a meet with Red for that night. I was to pick up Wallace in front of the subway terminal building, the Hill Street side, at 9:30 p.m. I gave the sample of heroin to Ed, who took it to the crime lab, where Sergeant J. Allen ran a test on it. The sample tested out within 40%. For the drug market, it's considered good quality. At 9:20 that night, I left the hotel and walked 5 blocks north to the Hill Street entrance of the subway terminal building. Wallace was there waiting for me. He said we were to meet Red at a hotel on West 54th Street. 9:47 p.m. We got to the hotel, went to a room on the second floor.
This one here.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah, who's that? It's Jack.
Morning.
Red, this is my friend I was telling you about.
Yeah?
Paul Lindsay. Paul, this is Red.
Hi.
Yeah, I hear you got some H to unload, huh?
What you talking about?
What is this, Jack? You give me a bum steer here?
Relax, huh? It's all right. He's solid, Red. You can talk.
No, he talks too fast and too much.
I'm here to do business. If you're ready, I am. If you're not, say so. I haven't got the time to play cozy with you.
Oh, now, take it easy with you. Get along a lot better.
Well, what do you want? Jack vouched for me. Isn't that enough for you?
The guy who vouched for Jack's in the county jail. We haven't been able to talk to him. Where have you done business before?
Well, I could ask you the same thing. Now, look, mister, we got one thing in common here. You got something to sell. Maybe I want to buy it. If we can't get together, let's forget the whole thing right now. You're not the only pusher in town.
This chair over there. Why don't you sit down? I'll fix a couple of drinks.
Jack can fix them. Let's find out if you and I can get together.
All right.
Same Paul, bourbon and water?
Yeah. Well, how about it? How much you got to sell?
Take it easy, huh? There's no rush. We can talk better over a couple of drinks.
Well, maybe you got the time, mister. I haven't. How much can you furnish me with?
More than you can buy from the looks of it.
Hey, Red, you got any lemons?
No.
No lemon twist in it, Paul. That all right?
Yeah, that's all right. Make it light, will you? Now, this junk you got, what's it test?
It's the best this town's seen in a long time. It's 50% or better.
Well, who you trying to con? My tester used your sample this afternoon. He says it won't go 40%.
Okay. You know where you can get better?
Paul, here you are. Red.
Thank you.
How about it, Lindsay? Do we do business?
Maybe.
Oh, who's playing cozy now?
Well, if I do go, it won't be for standard price. Your junk isn't worth it.
It's 40%. I don't care what your tester says. An ounce will cost you $400.
No, not to me it won't. I'm not paying out good money for milk sugar. I want a big buy and I want quality, but not at $400 an ounce.
Maybe we can work something out. Why get excited?
Because I don't like chicken operators. I don't like stalling around. Now, if you got an offer, let's make it.
Price is going to depend on a lot of things. How much merchandise you going to want?
20 ounces. I got customers up north. Have to have it for them the 15th of the month.
Up north where?
San Francisco, Sacramento.
That's funny. We checked on that.
Yeah?
Yeah, the hotel you're at. You're registered for San Diego.
Yeah, good address. I've never been there.
I heard some talk about you. You ever work Fresno?
Maybe. I take customers where I find them.
20 ounces, huh? At the minimum?
For your stuff, yeah. Now, what's the price?
I think we might get together. It's a pretty good buy. Might work out a discount on it.
How much?
3 1/4 an ounce. I figure that's reasonable.
Maybe you do. I don't. $2.75. I can't go better. If I didn't need this stuff right now, I wouldn't offer that.
I'll split the difference. 20 ounces, $300 an ounce. You can't do better than you know it. No? How about it? $300 an ounce?
I'm not lining up for a soft touch. I want another sample when I move on.
You'll get it. Now, what do you say?
All right, you got a deal. 20 ounces. When do I get the stuff?
We'll get in touch with you tomorrow. Through Jack here. 6,000. You sure you got the money?
I got it. Now, what's the setup?
Tomorrow, you'll get the word.
All right. If I don't hear by 4 p.m., I'll know you're gone hinky. I'll look up somebody else.
You'll hear.
How about it, Jack? You ready to go?
Yeah, okay. See you later, Red.
Jack?
Yeah?
So you got a wife and a couple of kids.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
All right, Jay.
Okay, fine. Why?
Nothing. I'll talk to you later, Jay.
10:40 p.m. The informant, Jack Wallace, and I took a cab back downtown, and I dropped him off. I got to a pay telephone, called Captain Kearney and my partner, Ed Jacobs, and we set up a meeting. 11:20 p.m. The three of us met on a side street out in the North Wilshire district, and I briefed them on what had happened. In order to prevent any possible harm to either Wallace or his family, the captain told me he'd have them placed under 24-hour surveillance. His children would be kept under observation going and coming from school. The next morning, I stayed close to my hotel room waiting for a contact from either Red or another member of the gang. 1:05 p.m. Hello.
Lindsay, this is Red.
Yeah.
That talk we had last night, you still interested?
Well, yeah, aren't you?
We'll be out on Mission Road, 11:30 tonight, west end of the park out there. You'll get your sample.
Mission Road. All right. You going to be there?
No.
Well, how I know your man? He might make a mistake.
He won't make a mistake. He knows you.
I hung up the phone and checked with Ed Jacobs next door to see if he'd picked up the conversation on his receiver. He told me he'd notify Captain Kearney of the plan for that night and that the captain would be in the office if I wanted to contact him on the inside line. As soon as I picked up the sample of heroin, I was to return to my hotel room, and Ed would immediately take it back to the crime lab for analysis. 1:30 p.m. I left the hotel, went downtown to a payphone, called home, and talked to my mother. She said there hadn't been any phone calls. I walked around for a couple of hours, went to a late afternoon show, and then I went over to Frank Tang's place for dinner. 11:15 p.m. I caught a yellow streetcar going north on Main Street and rode to the end of the line on Mission Road. It was about 300 yards from there to the designated meeting place, the west end of the park. The place was dark, completely deserted. 11:25 p.m. 11:30.
Lindsay?
Yeah.
Package you want? Eucalyptus tree back there in the middle of the park.
Where?
Straight back there. You can't miss it. You'll find the package under a rock at the bottom of the tree. See you later.
I started to cross the park. The eucalyptus tree pointed out was about 200 feet from the edge of the road. There was a narrow path hemmed with shrubbery leading up to the base of the tree. There was a large rock beside it. I bent down and looked under the rock. There was nothing there. I started to turn, but it was too late.
All right, Wes. Give him the boot stand. Give it to him. Shake his pockets down.
No identification on him. He's clean.
Let's go. He's got his sample.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Fatima, America's first, largest-selling blended cigarette. Now king size.
See the difference. Taste the difference. Smoke the difference. And in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, you get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
You see, Fatima contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos, superbly blended.
And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Fatima, definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you are now smoking.
No wonder more smokers now insist on king-size Fatima than ever before.
Friends, try Fatima. Buy several packs. Compare them. We're convinced you'll start the new year with Fatima. Yes, when you see the difference, taste the difference, smoke the difference, you'll switch to Fatima. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
When I came to, it was a few minutes past midnight. The bruises on my face and head were beginning to swell. I felt dazed, sick to my stomach.
I made my way out of the park and down the road to a public phone booth where I called my partner, Ed Jacobs. He came out right away and drove me back to the hotel. Ed put in a call to Captain Kearney, and he made arrangements to have a doctor sent over to examine me. He treated me for numerous cuts and bruises about the face and head and the upper part of the body. There were no serious injuries. At 10 minutes past 1, Captain Kearney called back and wanted to know if Ed and I could meet him at his home. He didn't want to take the chance of being seen around our hotel. Ed and I drove out to his house in the Silver Lake district.
Come on in. Sit down.
Yeah, thanks, Skipper.
How do you feel, Joe?
Well, my side hurts a little. Fair, I guess.
Yeah, they really gave you a working over. Do you recognize any of them?
Yeah, one guy. I don't know his name, though.
What do you think, Skipper? Round up a whole bunch of them?
No, that's not going to help any. Suppose we pick him up now. What do we got on him? A misdemeanor, battery, 30 days in jail, and they're out again. We're right back where we started.
What do you figure's wrong, Joe? Think they got Hinky?
I don't know. I can't figure.
I think you better take a couple of days off, go home and rest up, let some of those bruises heal.
The whole thing could be blown by that time. The deal will be cold. If we're going to make it pay, I got to stay on it.
How do you know they haven't made you for a cop? The deal might be cold right now.
Yeah, it's possible.
What other reason would they have for tampering you?
How about your friend Jack Wallace? He might have a straight story. Ask him about it.
No, I'll do better. I'll ask Red. Captain Kearney finally agreed to go on with the plan with the understanding that Ed Jacobs and another man from our office would have me under surveillance at all times. It was understood that I'd go back to Red's hotel room to see if I could pick up the loose ends. Jacobs and another officer would follow me to the hotel and remain within calling distance. 2:10 a.m. I got to the hotel on West 5th Street and went up to the second floor to Red's room.
Yeah, who's there?
Lindsay.
How you doing, Lindsay?
Lindsay, thick.
Hey, lay off, huh?
I ought to break your back.
Wait a minute, Lindsay. Wait a minute. What's this all about?
You want to know? You set your hoods on me. Look at my face.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I went back to pick up the sample. This is what happens. How big do you punks think you are?
All right, Stan, what happened out there?
Not much. You said he was acting smart. We thought we'd cool him off a little.
I told you to keep an eye on him, that's all, not to rough him up.
Oh, he's a crybaby. We hardly touched
Oh,
him.
shut up. Every time you get on that H, you get muscle happy. I warned you before, Stan. Now, this is the last time. You better quit chipping with that junk. You cause any more trouble like this and you're out, understand?
He's a crybaby, Red. We didn't hurt him.
I heard enough from you. Now go on, take a walk.
Okay.
If you see Max, tell him I want him.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry, Lindsay. These things happen sometimes. Can't be helped.
Well, why do you keep punks like that around? I thought you were too smart to connect with users. They could get both of us in trouble.
Oh, they'll be all right. Relax. Every once in a while they get geed up and I have to straighten them out.
I wouldn't trust them with my laundry.
They're all right for what I use them for. They're good errand boys. Can I get you a drink?
No.
All right, what about the stuff? You ready to move on the deal?
I've been ready. I told you I needed to step to the 15th.
How about tomorrow night?
What's the matter with right now?
Oh, now, you know better than that. I don't keep the plan around here. I'll call you at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
I still haven't got the sample.
You don't need one. It's as good as the first one you got. Come on, what are you stalling for? I'm getting tired of this sample yak. If you don't want to buy, say so.
You'll bring it to my hotel tomorrow night?
No, I'll call you. I'll tell you where you can pick it up. 20 ounces, 300 an ounce, right?
Yeah, no phony stuff. You keep your hands on the table, so will I. You deliver the merchandise, I'll pay the money.
What are you worrying about? I trust you. Why can't you trust me?
Yeah, sure I did. Look at my face. 3:05 a.m. I left Red and went back downtown to my hotel room. A few minutes after I got in, I heard Ed Jacobs and Lieutenant Lou Walters enter the adjoining room. I checked the hallway first, and then I went next door and briefed him on what had happened with Red. I told him I'd let Ed know about the time and the place of the meet as soon as I heard. Walters said he'd keep enough men ready at the office to cover the area on short notice. I went back to my room, took a shower, and got some sleep. At 8 o'clock that night, I was in my room standing by the phone. I waited. No call. 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:15, still no word. 9:25 p.m. Hello.
Lindsay, this is Red. Sorry I'm late. I couldn't get to the plant.
Well, what's the pitch?
It's all set. Norwich Grill, West 7th Street.
When?
10:30 sharp.
Before he hung up, Red told me to meet one of his pushers in the last booth at the back end of the grill. He said I'd recognize him. The man would have the package of heroin wrapped in newspapers. I was to hand him $6,000 and he would give me the package. I immediately contacted Ed in the room next door and he notified the office. At 10:15 p.m., I left the hotel with a dummy package of money containing 6 marked bills. 10:28 p.m.
I got to the Norwich Grill on West 7th Street. It was almost empty. I went to the rear booth where I found one of Red's pushers, Stan, drinking coffee.
Right on the dot. Sit down, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Now, let's not camp on this thing. You got the money?
I done business with you before. Where's the stuff?
Didn't Red tell you where to be?
Yeah. Wrapped up in that newspaper. He told me there'd be some stuff under a rock one time. It wasn't there. I want to look.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
You think I got a reason to?
All right. Have a look. There, you satisfied?
No. Open it.
All right. It's all there. I saw it made up. That enough for you?
Yeah. Okay. You just made a deal.
Yeah, what do you have?
Coffee, black, piece of apple pie.
All right.
You?
Coffee. All right. Okay, stuff's there. Now, how about the loot?
I got it.
Let's have it. 6 G's. Red wants me back in a hurry.
Well, relax. We'll have some coffee. This is a big deal.
Money. Now, how about it?
All right. There you go. What's the matter with you? What are you shaking about?
Nothing. I'm a little nervous. Red wouldn't let me have a fix before I left. Getting a little sick. I'm going to have a look here.
What are you doing? Red told me to tell you not to open it till you got it back to him.
Who are you kidding, mister?
All right, you go ahead and open it up. You'll have to answer for it, not me.
Sure. Hey, now what's the deal? Only a few bills in here. The rest of it's paper. You trying to beat us?
It's already done.
You won't get away with this. We'll fix you up. Max is outside. Friday, we saw him take the envelope. You get the stuff?
Yeah, right here.
Guy waiting outside, Joe. We got him. They're taking him in now.
Cops, lousy cops. Wait till Red hears about this.
He will. Head?
Yeah, I'll get him. Okay, let's go.
Come on, fella, move. What are you grabbing me for? I deliver the stuff. That's all. These big deals aren't mine. I'm small time. Fix once in a while, that's all I want. Just little fixes. The biggest deal I ever made.
Yeah, sure.
It's the truth. Now, what about Red? He's got a lot of their stuff left. This guy's above him. Big dealers. Why don't you get them?
We'll get them.
You'll never guess who the other two are. They're real high powers. Big deals. Nothing but big deals. You won't bust them 100 years.
Yeah, let's go. Get my coat, will you, Ed, please?
Yeah, okay.
Hey, forgot your check. Who's going to pay for the coffee?
Here, Will.
Who?
This one.
Me?
Yeah, you just made a big deal.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 13th, the booking was made at the Los Angeles Police Department, Watts Substation, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that booking.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, last year we were honored with thousands of letters from listeners all over the country. Letters telling us that you've bought Fatimas and you find them the best of all king-size cigarettes. Well, thanks to you and the many thousands of other smokers who have switched to Fatima. Now, if you haven't tried Fatimas yet, make this your cue for the new year. Next time, get yourself a pack of Fatimas. Compare them. See the difference. Taste the difference. Smoke the difference. And when you do, I'm convinced that you'll switch to Fatima. Because believe me, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
The two suspects, Stanley Parrish and Max Higbee, were booked at the Watts substation on suspicion, the Narcotic Act, felony. After a meeting in the district attorney's office, they expressed their desire to assist the police in the apprehension of the outstanding members of the gang. They were filed on, and before a magistrate in municipal court, they waived their right to a preliminary hearing to conceal the fact of their arrest.
Next week, The Big Red, Part 2. Ladies and gentlemen, to build our strength against aggression, we must equip our armed forces with the weapons of war. At the same time, we must produce adequate supplies of civilian goods in order to keep prices down and defeat inflation. We can meet this double challenge by raising our productivity, by turning out more goods and services for every hour we work, and by refusing to let up until our nation is secure. Remember, the better we produce, the stronger we grow.
Just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Heard tonight were Barney Phillips and Stacey Harris. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Every one of your waking hours, NBC broadcasts the very finest in comedy, mystery, music, drama, news, and programs of public service. So always set your dial to NBC, the leader in radio programming. Counter Spy fights international intrigue next on NBC.
Did you miss out on that big football game last week? Can't get rid of that head cold? Want to get away from it all?
CBS offers you Escape.
You are groping your way slowly through the dark hold of a ship at sea, moving carefully, step by step, searching intently for something you dread to find, because you know that this ship carries a cargo of death.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to a harbor front in Venezuela, and a grim voyage that started there, as told by Martin Storm in his gripping story, A Shipment of Mute Fate. I stopped on the wharf at La Guaira, looked up the gangplank toward the liner Chan Cay, standing quietly there at her moorings. The day was warm under a bright tropic sun, and the harbor beyond the ship lay drowsy and silent. But all at once, in the midst of these peaceful surroundings, a cold chill gripped me, and I shivered with sudden dread. Dread of the thing I was doing and was about to do. But too much had happened to turn back now. I'd gone too far to stop. So I set the box down on the edge of the wharf, placed it carefully so as to be in plain sight and within gunshot of the captain's bridge. And then I turned and started up the gangplank. I knew what I was going to do, but I couldn't forget that a certain pair of beady eyes were watching every move I made. Eyes that never blinked and never closed, just watched and waited.
Oh, I beg your pardon. What? Mr. Warner.
Hello, Mother Willis. How's the best-looking stewardess on the Seven Seas?
Well, I'm fine, Mr. Warner. I guess you better run along now. Get on with the show.
Now, wait a minute. That's a fine greeting after 2 months.
Well, it's just that I'm so busy.
I don't believe a word of it. Sailing days tomorrow. You're simply avoiding me, that's all.
Oh, no, really, I'm not.
And on the trip down from New York, you said I was your favorite passenger.
But I'm only...
Here, wait a minute. What's that you're carrying in your apron there?
It's nothing. It's just supplies.
Supplies? Well, let's have a look, huh?
No, please.
What do you know? It's a cat.
It's Clara, Mr. Warner.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bowman said I had to leave her ashore, and I just couldn't.
Well, who's Mr. Bowman?
The new chief steward.
Oh.
Clara's been aboard with me for 2 years, and I just can't leave her here in a foreign country, especially with her condition, so delicate and all.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Well, I hope you get away with it.
You won't tell anyone?
Not a soul. As a matter of fact, if things don't work out right, we may both end up smuggling.
aboard on the trip down 2 months ago, Christopher. I'm very glad you're coming along with us on the run back to New York.
Thanks, Captain Wood. There is one thing, though. I'm having a little trouble with the customs men here, and I wondered if you might...
I can't do it, Christopher. I just cabled your father this morning. Told him I'd done it for you if I possibly could. He sent us a request from New York, you know.
Yeah, I thought he would. I wired him from upriver last week.
I hate to refuse, but it's absolutely out of the question.
Well, Captain Wood, I'm afraid I don't follow you there.
Responsibility to the passenger, son. There are women and children aboard. On a liner, the safety of the passengers comes ahead of anything.
But with proper precautions.
Something might happen. I don't know what, but something might.
You've carried worse things?
There isn't anything worse. And any skipper afloat will bail me out. Now, Christopher, I simply can't take the chance, and that's final.
Final? Well, it wasn't final if I could do anything about it. I hadn't come down here to spend 2 months in that stinking backcountry and then be stopped on the edge of the wharf. 2 months of it. Heat, rain, insects, malaria. I'd gone clear in past the headwaters of the Orinoco, traveled through country where every step along the jungle trail might be the last one. Oh, Sanchez.
Si, Senor Warner.
You better start looking for a place to camp. It'll be dark in a little while.
Si, Senor. Very soon we'll turn to river. Camp on rocks by water. This very bad country.
This very bad country. You've been saying that for 10 days now. Very bad country.
Well, si, Senor Warner. This very bad country.
Yeah, let's skip it. For all the luck we've had so far, it might as well be Central Park.
Central Park? I don't understand.
Oh, never mind. If we don't find something... Hey, what's the matter? Quiet now. Sanchez, what's wrong?
They're in the park. See? Bushmaster.
Bushmaster. The deadliest snake in the world. Bushmaster. Its Latin name was Lachesis muta. Mute fate. It lay there in the center of the path, a 10-foot length of silent death, coiled loosely in an undulant loop, ready to strike violently at the least movement. Here was the one snake that would go after any animal that walked, or any man. It lay there and watched us, not moving, not afraid, ready for anything. The splotch of its colors stood out like some horrible, gaudy floor mat lying there on the brown background of the jungle, waiting for someone to step on it. Here was what I'd come 2,000 miles for, a bushmaster.
Sanchez!
I didn't want that snake killed.
He no kill, Senor. He gone. Bushmaster very smart, very quick. Must always see bullet in time to dodge.
Well, anyway, he's gone, and the only one we've seen in 5 weeks.
Oh, we find other. This very bad country.
Well, lay off that gun the next time. Don't shoot, you understand?
Why you say no shoot? You want Bushmaster?
Sure, but I want it alive.
Hombre Cristo. Senor Warner, you tell me you want Bushmaster, but you no say alive.
You're getting $200 for it.
For dead man, what is $200? Tomorrow we go back to Caracas.
I'll make it 500, Sanchez.
I catch water snake, rattlesnake, any other kind. But I no catch Bushmaster.
Sanchez, I'll give you $1,000.
We go back to Caracas.
Well, it cost me 1,500 American dollars. But 3 days later, Sanchez brought me the snake in a rubber bag. He was shaking so hard, I thought for a moment the thing had struck him.
One thing you make sure, Senor Warner. Not turn him loose in Venezuela. Because he know I the one who catch him. And he know where I live.
All right, Sanchez, I'll keep an eye on him.
También he know you pay me to catch him. All the time he watch and wait. You not forget that, Senor Warner. Because he no forget. Not ever.
Well, after going through all that trouble and danger and laying out $1,500, I wasn't going to let a pig-headed ship captain stop me at the last minute. At least not as long as the cables were still in operation between La Guaira and New York. Morning, Captain Wood. The boy at the hotel said you wanted to see me.
That's right, Christopher. Sit down.
Thank you.
It seems you weren't willing to let matters stand the way we left them yesterday.
I'm sorry to go over your head, Captain Wood, but I had to. The museum sent me all the way down here for it. And I'm not going to be stopped by red tape. This will be the only live Bushmaster ever brought to the United States.
Yes, and if I had my way, well, orders are orders. I got a cable from the head office this morning. All right. I suppose we talk about precautions.
I'll handle it any way you say.
Got to have a stronger box. That crate's too flimsy.
It's stronger than it looks. And that wire screen on top would hold a wildcat. But anyway, I bought a heavy sea chest this morning. I will put the crate inside of it.
Sounds all right. You got a lock on it?
Heavy padlock. It's fixed so that the lid can be propped open a crack without unlocking it. The snake's got to have air.
But in dirty weather, that lid stays shut. I'll take no chances.
Fair enough.
I will keep the thing in my inside cabin where I sleep. I can't have it in the baggage room. And nobody on board's to know about it.
Whatever you say, Captain. But we won't have any trouble. After all, it's only an animal. It doesn't have any magical powers.
I saw a bushmaster in the zoo at Caracas once. Had it in a glass cage with double walls. It'd never move. Just lay there. Look at you as long as you were in sight. Gave a man the creeps.
I didn't know they had a bushmaster at the Caracas Zoo.
They don't. Now. Found the glass broken one morning and the snake gone. Night watchman was dead. They never found out what happened.
Well, the watchman must have broken the glass by accident some way.
The way they figured it, the glass was broken from the inside. Well, we sail in 4 hours.
We steamed north into the Caribbean with perfect weather and a sea as smooth as an inland lake. The barometer dropped a little on the third day, but cleared up overnight and left nothing worse than a heavy swell. But in spite of the calm seas and the pleasant weather, I found myself feeling more and more often an ominous foreboding. I was developing an almost unnatural fear of that snake. Well, I stayed clear of the passengers pretty much. Got the habit of dropping into Captain Wood's quarters several times a day. He kept the heavy box underneath his berth. I'd approach it quietly and shine my flashlight through the open crack. Never once could I catch that 12-foot devil asleep, or even excited. He'd be lying there, half coiled, his head raised a little, staring out of those beady black eyes, waiting. He'd still be like that when I'd turn away to leave. Maybe that's what bothered me, that horrible and constant watchful waiting. What in the name of heaven was he waiting for?
Well, hello there, Mr. Warner.
Oh, how are you, Mother Willis?
Why, but you and the captain spend an awful lot of time around this cabin. I'm beginning to think the two of you must have some guilty secret.
Oh, no, nothing like that, Mother Willis. I don't know about Captain Wood, but I certainly don't have any guilty secret. Well, she's running quite a swell out there, Mr. Bowman.
Yeah, it's a little heavy, all right, Mr. Warner. Just a storm passed through to the west of us yesterday when the glass dropped.
Think it missed us then, huh?
Yeah, that's what the mate figures. Sure stirred up some water, though.
This will put half the passengers in their bunks.
Makes it great for my department. 2/3 of them will want a steward to hold their head.
They'll keep Mother Willis so busy she'll have... Wait, look at the size of that wave.
Huh? Brace your optimism. We're going to take it on the port bow. Hang on!
Well, that was a freak if there ever was one. Not another wave in sight.
You see them like that sometimes, even in a calm sea. Well, I got to get below, Mr. Warner. That water probably did some damage on the officer's deck.
Yeah, I suppose it... What did you say?
The wheel companionway was open on the port side. Bridge cabins must have taken a pretty bad smashing up. They're right below the, Here, is something wrong, Mr. Warner?
No, nothing at all, Mr. Bowman. At least I hope not. I looked first for Captain Wood and couldn't find him. Of course, I knew it was only one chance in 1,000, but the chances against that freak wave were 1 in 1,000, too. Well, I couldn't waste any more time, so I stumbled down the companionway and along the passage to the captain's cabin.
Oh, come on in, Mr. Warner.
Mother Willis.
Why, isn't this cabin a mess? Trying to get some of these things out to dry.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to check. Where's that box that was under the captain's bunk?
Threw it out on that.
But where? We didn't know. It was nearly dark when we met together again in the chart room.
I don't get the thing at all. No other way around it. We've risked all the time we can. We've got to warn the passengers.
Well, how'll we do it, Captain? Call them all together in the lounge?
No, if we did anything like that, we'd be asking for a panic.
We'll get one whether we ask for it or not.
Pick a few men and go through the cabin decks. Tell them individually, inside their cabins. Watch for any act that looks as though it might cause trouble. And we'll keep an eye on them. Handle the crew the same way.
All right, Captain.
Okay. Now, as soon as you've finished, arm all the deck officers and start searching again. Our only chance of preventing a riot is to find that damnable snake.
The slow nightmare that followed grew worse by the hour. None of us slept. All the ship's officers not on duty kept on with that endless search. Passengers locked themselves in their cabins or huddled together in the lounges, knowing all the time that no spot on board could be called safe. Fear was a heavy fog in the lungs of all of us, and every light on the vessel burned throughout the night. Morning came and brought no relief. Terror and tension mounted by the hour.
There now, Mrs. Crane, stop getting yourself all worked up and go back to your cabin. The horrid thing's probably crawled overboard anyway.
You're just saying that. You're paid to say it. You don't know. Nobody does.
Now, everything's going to be all right.
Oh, if you could only do something. If all of us could only get off the ship and could fumigate it. Yes, that's what they've got to do. We've got to get off the ship.
Now, wait.
Mr. Bowman. Mr. Bowman is going to kill us.
No, you don't, lady.
Let me go. Let me go.
Nice work.
Let me go.
Nice work, Mr. Bowman. Get her down to her cabin. Whatever you do, don't turn her loose.
Well, you never know when it might strike you. You can't put on a coat or move a chair without risking your life. Now, something's got to be done. It might be right here in this crowd.
All right, mister. You better quiet down. Take it easy.
Take it easy, huh? Well, you're a great officer. Why don't you do something about it? That thing might be crawling around here right under our feet somewhere.
Shut up. Are you trying to start a panic?
I got a right to talk. I don't want to die. Nobody's going to catch me.
The second night passed, and morning came around again. A gray and rainy day, just as grim and tense, dragged past, and the night came down again. Third night of the terror. Again, every light burned, and the whole ship seethed in the throes of incipient panic. Faced by a horror they'd never met on the sea before, crew and officers alike were on the verge of revolt. Passengers sat huddled in a trance-like stupor, ready to scream at the slightest unknown sound. At 7 bells, I made my way forward to the chart room and found Captain Wood bent over a desk.
Hello, Christopher. Come on in. Sit down.
It's got to be somewhere, Captain Wood. It's got to be.
I don't know. You could search this ship for 6 months and never touch all the places aboard. We can only hold out for 2 more days. We'll be in.
What's the Home Office say?
Oh, here's the latest wireless from them. Keep quiet and keep coming. What else can we do? How is it on the deck?
Pretty bad. Anything could happen.
Yeah. That's why I took the guns away from the men. One pistol shot and we'd have a riot on our hands.
Well, the whole thing's my fault, Captain Wood. That's what I can't forget.
Oh, take it easy, Ned.
There was only some way I could pay for it myself, alone.
No, I know how you feel, but it's no more your fault than mine. The man who asked you to bring the snake back alive. Nobody planned this. You'd better try and get a little sleep.
Sleep?
Mr. Bowman made some coffee down the steward's galley a while ago. Better go down and get yourself a cup. And then rest up for a couple of hours.
Rest? I can't rest.
Christopher, it's no good going. What are you going to do? You can't help anything. You just tumble through a hatch, half asleep, and break your neck. Go on and get some coffee. One way or another, we've got to hold out for 2 more days.
The light was on in the steward's galley, and the coffee pot was standing on the stove. It was still warm, so I didn't bother to heat it. I poured out a cup, carried it over, and set it on the porcelain tabletop in the center of the room. I started to light a cigarette. The door of the hand cupboard beneath the sink was standing slightly ajar, and I happened to glance down toward it. Out from the dark interior of the cupboard shone two glittering points of light 2 inches apart. I dropped the cigarette and moved slowly backward. I'd found the Bushmaster. As I moved, the snake slid out of the cupboard in a single sinuous glide, drew back into a loose coil on the galley floor, never taking his eyes off me. I moved slowly back, waiting any moment for that deadly, slithering strike. How had he known it was me? He'd stayed quiet when Bowman was here. How did he know to pick the first time in 3 days when I didn't have a gun? Well, my hands touched the wall behind me and I stopped. Only then I realized in terror what I'd done. The call button and the door were on the far side of the room. I'd backed into a dead end. I stared at the snake in fascination, expecting any moment the ripping slash of those poison fangs. The horrid coils tightened a little, and then were still again. 10 million years of evolution to produce this moment. Homo sapiens versus Lachesis muta. Man against mute faith. And all the odds were on faith. I knew then that I was going to die. I could feel the sweat run down between the painted wall and the palms of my hands pressed against it. My skin crawled and twitched. And the pit of my stomach was as cold as ice. There was no sound but the rush of blood in my ears. The snake shifted again, drawing into a tighter coil. Always tighter. Why the devil didn't he get it over with? And then, for just an instant, his head veered away. Something moved over by the stove. I didn't dare turn to look at it. Slowly, it moved out into my line of vision. There was a cat. That scrawny cat Clara that Mother Willis had sneaked aboard in La Guaira. Its back was arched and every hair stood on end. It moved stiff-legged now, walking in a half circle around the snake. The Bushmaster shifted slowly and kept watching the cat. He tightened. He was going to strike at any second. He struck and missed. The cat was barely out of reach. Now she was walking back and forth again. She was asking to die. Missed again by a fraction of an inch. He was striking now without even going to a full coil. Missed. Again and again. Always missing to the barest margin. Each time the cat danced barely out of reach, and each time she countered with one precise spat of a dainty paw, bracing her skinny frame on 3 stiff legs. And then suddenly I realized what she was doing. The Bushmaster was tiring, and one strike was just an instant slow. But in that split second, sharp claws raked across the evil head and ripped out both of the lidless eyes. That cat had deliberately blinded the snake. Well, he didn't bother the coil now, but slid after in a fury, striking wildly and rapidly, always missing, and every strike was a little slower than the last one. Until finally, as the snake's neck stretched out at the end of a strike, the cat made one leap and sank her razor-sharp teeth just back of the ugly head, sank them in until they crunched bone. With tooth and claw she clung as the monster snake flailed and lashed on the floor, striving to get those hideous coils around her, trying to break her hold, to shake off the slow and certain paralyzing death that gradually crept over him and at last stilled his struggle forever. I took a deep breath. And first in minutes. The cat lay on her side on the floor, panting, resting from the fight just over. And she had a right to rest. That mangy, brave, beautiful alley cat had just saved my life. And maybe others as well. But as I turned toward the stove, I suddenly became very humble. And I knew all at once what a small thing a human being really is. I and others aboard were still alive only by the merest accident. There were 3 reasons why that cat had fought and killed the world's deadliest snake. And those 3 reasons came tottering out from under the stove on shaky little legs. 3 kittens with their eyes bright with wonder and their tails stiff as pokers. Up on the deck, hundreds of passengers were waiting for the news that the days and nights of terror were ended. Well, I could wait a little longer. I pulled open the doors of the cabinet, found a can of milk, and then I dropped down on my knees on the floor of the galley.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you A Shipment of Mute Fate by Martin Storm, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Jack Webb as Chris Warner, Raymond Lawrence as Captain Wood, and D.J. Thompson as Mother Willis. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fure. Next week,
at this same time, when you're tired from a hard day at the office, or leaning over a hot stove all day, when you want to get away from it all, CBS again offers you Escape.
good night then until this same time next week when CBS again brings you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
To hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. You're in the middle of a drive to break up a $100,000 narcotics ring. You apprehend two of the lesser gang members. You still haven't reached the big operation. You still haven't found their store of heroin. Your job? Get them.
Fatima, America's first, largest selling blended cigarette. Now, king size.
1950. Fatima sales higher than ever before in Fatima history.
1951. Another record year. Fatima sales up and up. Why, in 1 month alone, Fatima sales were up 110% coast to coast.
Friends, for your smoking in 1952, insist on Fatima. Enjoy Fatima quality, extra mildness, and superbly blended tobaccos.
Remember, the name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. Yet Fatimas cost the same as the cigarettes you're now smoking.
Compare them. When you see the difference, taste the difference, smoke the difference, you'll switch to Fatima, because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Each king-size Fatima gives you a long, extra mild, and soothing smoke with the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, August 14th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working a special detail out of Narcotics Division. My partner's Ed Jacobs. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. It was 1:23 a.m. when I got to 5th and Ceres, southwest corner.
Hi, Joe.
Ed, Captain, you been waiting long?
Just got here. All right, Jacobs.
Okay. Where'd you finally book in the two of them?
77th Division, substation watch. Harris here is willing to cooperate. Told us everything he knows about the gang.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way, Stan. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
Hope it helps. Red and the other guys find out about it. It's going to be rough. They're not going to find out from us. We're heading out for East Hollywood, Joe. Apartment house out there. Parrish says that's where Red makes his pickups.
Whereabouts is that, Stan?
I don't know the address. I know the neighborhood, though. I'll recognize the place when I see it.
How you feel now, Stan? Any better?
No, lousy. Sure could use a fix about now.
Sorry, Parrish. Can't help you there.
How you going to handle this thing, Captain? I mean, picking up Stan and Max Higbee. You figure we can keep it quiet?
The newspapers are going to cooperate. They're not going to print a word about it.
I'm going to handle the court work. Stan and Max are going to waive their preliminary. Ought to give us 5 to 6 weeks of quiet if we need it. Can't reach the rest of the gang by then, we'll never reach them.
Sure feel lousy. Sick. Never tried to kick the habit before. How long does it take?
Well, it all depends. How bad are you hooked?
Oh, not bad. I'm just chippy with it, not more than a cap a day.
Where do we go now, Stan? Keep going straight?
Yeah, straight ahead. Turnout's not for a while yet.
Well, how do you figure it from here on in, Captain? What do I do about Red?
Well, you're going to have to con your way through. I had the crime lab fix up a dummy package for you on the seat there.
Uh-huh.
Has the same wrappings as the one the real stuff came in. Package Stan gave you in the restaurant. You take it back to Red and scream your head off.
Yeah?
You tell him you got the package from Stan and Max and you paid him the 6 G's for it. You opened it up and found it full of powdered sugar. Read 'em off. Put it on big. You got a gun?
No, I haven't. I checked it in my locker when I started on this thing.
All right, take mine.
Okay.
Make it heavy. Pretend you're going to gun him.
What if it doesn't work, Skipper?
That's taken care of, too. There'll be a couple of men down in the street, Joe. If you got your back to a wall, break the window. They'll come running.
Okay, I'll give it a try. You think Red's still at his hotel, Stan?
Sure. He's probably waiting for me and Max.
Anybody with him, you think?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Yeah, I wonder if you'd call my mother the first chance you get. She might be a little worried.
Don't have to. She called the office before we left.
Oh.
I think I convinced her everything was all right.
Oh, thanks a lot. Come.
That's it. We'll let you out at the next corner. Head back for the hotel.
Right.
Good luck, Joe.
Right, Ed. Thanks.
How about it, Parrish? Anything else you can give us that might help him?
I don't know. It's going to take a lot of front. Only one way you can get that.
Yeah?
You better get yourself a good fix.
I left Captain Kearney, Ed Jacobs, and the narcotic suspect, Stan Parrish, on the corner of Western and Wilshire and made my way to Red's Hotel on West 54th Street. I went up to the second floor and found his door open. I walked in. Red was sitting in an overstuffed chair next to the radio, listening to the police calls coming in.
What's the matter now, Lindsay? Why the gun?
Don't try any of your conning this time, you two-bit thief.
What's the matter with you? Put the gun down.
No, not before I get what's coming to me. You and your lousy punks.
What are you talking about? Where's Stan and Max?
Dead, I hope. That leaves only you to deal with. I should have known better the first time when you had me tamped. I should have gotten out right then.
What's in your craw, guy? Come on, let's settle.
Oh, you know what. Now look for yourself. 6 G's worth, powdered sugar. You didn't think you could beat me for this, did you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's more in this than me. If you don't square up this thing with us, there's ways of taking care of you. I'm on the lam anyway. Now, one more beat isn't going to make that much difference.
Put that gun down, will you? Now, let's talk it out. It doesn't make sense. If you've been beat, then so have I.
Don't try to sell me that line. Get both of them out. I know they're here. Now, come on, get them out here.
Watch that gun, will you? I don't know what you're getting at, Lindsay. They're not here. Didn't you see them, Max and Stan?
Sure, I saw them. That's why I'm here. I gave them the money, 6 yards of it, and that's what I got, powdered sugar. Now, you start explaining, smart guy.
It's the truth. I don't know where they are. I gave Stan and Max 20 ounces to take to you. I told Stan to make the meet with you inside the restaurant. Max is supposed to be the lookout.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So help me. I don't get it. Two of them never tried anything like this before. Weren't you tipped off at all? Maybe the way they acted. Something they said.
No, nothing. That mooch Stan was a little unhappy. He said he wanted to fix and you wouldn't give it to him.
That's right, I wouldn't.
Well, then you should have known better. There's no time to get stingy with him when he's going to make a deal for you.
You know what happened the last time he took a fix before a job. I sent him out to that park to watch you. He ends up by tamping you. I'm leveling with you, Lindsay. I think we've both been taken. I still don't get it, though. I can't understand why they'd run out on me.
Now, look, I haven't got the time to draw you pictures, mister. All I know is my dough's gone and you haven't delivered the stuff. Now, you get with it.
Now, wait a minute. How do I know for sure?
What?
How do I know you didn't get the real merchandise and you took care of Max and Stan? How do I know you didn't build a frame?
Oh, sure. That's why I'm back here. I got 20 ounces free and I want another 20. I met those mooches of yours and took care of them all by myself. Now, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, get off it, Red. You're not going to poor mouth me out of this. I paid my 6 G's and I want the merchandise. Full 20 ounces and I want it right now.
You're crazy. I can't do that. You have to give me time. We don't keep this stuff here. It isn't mine in the first place.
What are you handing me?
It isn't. I'm just a middleman, that's all. You'll have to give me time. Maybe we can work out something for you.
You bet you're going to work out something for me. You got my 6 G's. Why'd you try and big shot me in the first place?
Calm down, huh?
Trying to make me believe you were the big man. You ought to get wise to yourself, Red.
Why should I deal with a middleman? I can probably buy the junk cheaper from your boss. Now, where's he?
You couldn't buy it at 2 G's an ounce. He wouldn't sell it to you. I handle all this stuff. I'm the only one he works through.
What makes you so special? You can't even handle a 20-ounce deal and keep it straight?
Stay cool, will you? Give me 24 hours.
What am I supposed to be doing in the meantime?
Same thing I'll be doing, worrying about getting that stuff back.
Why try and cover up? Your mooches ran out on you.
Maybe. I want to make sure I'll get the word out.
Yeah?
I'll find out what happened.
Before I left Red, we set up a meet for the following night in his hotel room at 7 p.m. Then I left, went downtown to an all-night drugstore, and put in calls to Captain Kearney and my partner, Ed Jacobs. I briefed them on what had happened with Red, and the captain set it up for the three of us to meet early that morning and plan the next move. The meeting point was down off Gallardo Street, alongside the Santa Fe train yards.
Joe, over here.
Hi, Ed. Captain.
Hi. You're a little late. Anything happen?
Well, I did some doubling back. Wanted to make sure I wasn't followed.
Things worked out with Red, huh? No trouble?
Well, not so far, no. I think he went for my story. He said he's going to do some checking around, though. Try to find out what happened to Stan and Max.
Yeah, I halfway figured that.
That story you told him, I thought if Red bought that, you'd be in.
He didn't buy it that far. I guess it made an impression waving a gun at him, but he still has some doubts.
What else can you do to get yourself in solid? You tried about it, everything, Joe.
I've been kicking around an idea. It might work for you. I don't know.
Yeah?
Put on a phony shakedown for him. Might give you a chance to show him how tough you're supposed to be. What do you think?
Well, maybe. Ought to help out if we stage it right.
When's your next meet with Red?
7 o'clock tonight, his hotel.
Room 231, that it?
Yeah, that's right. How do you want to work it?
Oh, I'll get a couple of men from Metro Division, have them in uniform. We better have them working a radio car.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a good reason for him breaking in on you.
How about a 415, Skipper? Joe could go up to the room, pick an argument with Red, and make noise, a lot of loud talking.
Yeah, that sounds okay.
All right. Both of the men in the radio car will be thoroughly briefed. You'll know what to do Friday. You're out to sell yourself. Act as tough as you think you have to.
All right, I'll give it a try.
Play it up to the hilt. You give Red the least idea the shakedown's a phony and we're washed up.
Yeah.
Phone me at the office as soon as you can, the inside line. We'll be waiting for the call.
Right. And just one more thing.
Yeah?
How about that apartment house Stan was going to show you last night, the place where Red's supposed to pick up the junk?
He pointed the place out all right. It's going to take some checking.
How do you mean?
Stan said he drove Red to this apartment house about a dozen times. Always had to stay in the car, though. Red went in alone. Didn't know which apartment Red went to.
Well, can't we check him out, Captain?
Got some men on it now. Going to take a little time. Big layout.
All right.
47 apartments.
I left Ed and Captain Kearney and caught a streetcar back to my hotel. I had some scrambled eggs, toast, and coffee in the grill next door, and then I went up to my room and got a couple hours sleep. Late that afternoon, I took in the show at a newsreel theater, had a bite to eat, and then headed out for Red's Hotel on West 54th Street. I got there a few minutes before 7. Red was waiting. Apparently, he'd failed to dig up any information on what had happened to his two operators, Stan and Max. I accused him again of trying to swindle me out of $6,000. I demanded the 20 ounces of heroin. Red had nothing to offer but apologies.
All right. Relax, will you? Take it easy. I'll work out something.
Take it easy, nothing. You do enough of that for the both of us. You sit there and listen to that radio. Why don't you get out and hustle up those two mooches of yours and get my dough back?
All right. You don't have to scream. I said I'd work something out.
All right, then start working. Get it. The dough or the white stuff. I gotta have it by the end of the week.
What do you want to do? Have it all over the hotel? Keep it down, will you?
Why? You take me for 6 G's and I'm supposed to play it nice? Now come off it, mister.
I didn't take you for 6 G's.
Those two mules did, and you own them. Either you square this up or everybody in the business is going to know about this.
What's got into you anyway? You've been boozing it up today?
Don't you worry about me. I'll take care of my end. Real big operator, huh, Red? You had all the eights. You handled everything. A real big shot, aren't you?
All right, forget it.
Red, the big wheel. He handles all kinds of deals. 50 cents to $5. After that, they get too big for him.
I said forget it, Lindsay.
When this one gets around, they're going to laugh you right out of the business. You can go back to selling razor blades. And knock that radio off. I'm sick of hearing that.
You gotta quiet down.
You think you're ready to handle it, do you?
I told you I'd try and work out something for you. Now, playing tough's gonna get you nothing you ought to know, Red. What's that?
What's it sound like? Yeah, who is it?
Police officers, open up.
What is this? What do you got me?
Shut up, will you? Take it easy. Can't tag us for anything.
All right, open up.
Well, I'm getting out of here. I'm not going through any shakedown.
You're out of your mind. Hold it. All right, I didn't mean to keep you waiting. Come on in, officers.
What's all the noise about up here?
Nothing. We're just having a friendly argument, that's all.
Can I see your identification?
Sure.
You, stay put.
Yeah?
Harry, better shake him down. Yeah, right. All right, back against the wall.
Okay.
Come on, hands behind your head. Keep them there.
You bet. The lousy fuzz. Hey, grab the other one. All right, good. Both of them.
You crazy fool. Now what do we do?
You don't have to worry about the other one. He's out cold. Take the gun off this one here. I'll get his handcuffs.
Why'd you have to do it? Why'd you have to start something?
I told you I can't afford a shakedown. You ought to know that.
Better give it up, both of you. You're not going to get away with it.
Shut up, will you?
You won't go far.
Come on, Red. Help me drag him over here.
What are you going to do?
A bedpost here. All right, get his wrists around here. That's it. That'll hold him.
Lindsay, you're out of your mind. What do we do with him now?
Don't worry about that. How's his partner?
Nothing doing. He's still out.
All right, now, cop, let's have it. What's the idea of the shakedown?
When we pick you up again, you'll get the idea.
Now, come on, let's have it.
Why don't you lay off? That's not going to get us out of this.
For a big dealer, you got a lot of chicken in you. Now, look, cop, give. Why the shakedown?
You're wasting your time.
Maybe I can change your mind.
Lindsay, you're crazy. Put that gun away.
Now, come on, cop, talk. Who gave you the
Put
tip-off?
that gun away, will you? It's only going to get us in deeper.
I want some answers. These fuzz didn't come along by accident. There had to be a tip-off.
How do you know? You were talking up a storm in here, making a lot of noise. Somebody in the hotel could have complained. Come on, get out of here.
Leave the two of them behind to identify us? That ain't going to work.
It's got to. What else can we do?
We can kill them.
You're out of your mind.
I can kill them right now.
You'll do it alone, Lindsay. I'm getting out.
We still got business to do.
I'm not looking for a murder rap. Now, come on, give it up. Let's get out of
As
here.
soon as we leave, we're going to have to start running. I won't be good for more than a day in this town. What do I do about my deal?
Come on, we can talk about it later. Come on.
We can talk right now. You handed me the stall long enough. I got 24 hours left. I want it settled.
Okay, I'll talk to the big man. I promise you.
I want to have a meet with him.
I don't know.
Now, you listen. That $6,000 buy was a drop in the bucket. I want to buy more. If the big guy's ready, so am I.
You got the money?
I got it. Cash. Now, how about the meet? How about it, Red?
Okay, I'll set it up.
Red got his things together, and we took the rear fire escape that led down to a service alley behind the hotel. Before the two of us separated, we agreed that Red would call me at my hotel at 10 o'clock the following morning. I wasn't altogether sure, but it seemed as though the act I'd put on at the phony shakedown had impressed Red quite a bit. Before I went back to my hotel, I called Ed Jacobs and Captain Kearney and briefed them on the developments. At 10 o'clock the next morning, I was waiting by the phone in my hotel room. At 10:15, Red called.
I talked to the big man this morning. I told him what you wanted.
Yeah? What's the answer?
It's going to be a fast deal, cash and carry.
Well, I'm ready. Is he?
I think so. Took a lot of talking.
All right. What about the meet?
I'll pick you up at your hotel. I'll take you to it.
When?
8 o'clock tonight.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Fatima, America's first largest-selling blended cigarette. Now king size.
See the difference. Taste the difference. Smoke the difference. And in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, you get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
You see, Fatima contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos, superbly blended.
And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Remember, the name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality, yet Fatimas cost the same as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Friends, compare Fatima yourself today. When you see the difference, taste the difference, smoke the difference, you'll switch to Fatima. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality. Each king-size Fatima gives you a long, extra mild and soothing smoke with the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all king-size cigarettes.
Tuesday, August 16th, 10:33 a.m. As soon as I got word from Red about the meet he'd set up for me with the big man, I called Captain Kearney on the inside line and briefed him on the way things stood. He said he'd have 3 teams of men ready to tail me and cover the meet. They'd work alternately in 3-way radio cars in order to reduce the risk of discovery to the minimum. He also told me the check of tenants was continuing at the East Hollywood apartment house, where Red apparently was picking up his supply of heroin for distribution. So far, the detail of men assigned to the job had failed to uncover any definite leads.
At 8 minutes past 8 o'clock that night, Red picked me up at my hotel, and together we drove out along Alhambra Avenue. We parked alongside the edge of a private golf course just north of the Ocean Highway.
Smoke?
Okay, thanks.
Better match?
Yeah. Well, what about it? We've been here 15 minutes already.
A lot of time. Feels like this. The boss doesn't like to hurry things.
Yeah, well, maybe he ought to get with it.
Relax, will you?
So we waited. 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11. Still no sign of the big man. 11:30, 11:45. No sign.
What time you got, Lindsay?
10 minutes to midnight. Have you got any ideas?
Yeah, I guess I can tell you now.
Well, you make this one real good, will you? It's been a long wait.
Boss wants to make sure about you, that's all. He's checking his contacts where you said you operate up around Fresno, isn't that right?
All right, so he's checking on me. What's he want, a blood sample?
He's careful. He wants to make sure. If it didn't show, this is what he told me to tell you.
Yeah?
If you're cleared all around with his contacts, a meet's set for tomorrow afternoon.
Where?
I'll get to it. The deal's this. You said you wanted a big buy. The boss has got it.
How much?
2 kilos. Same good stuff you sampled, high-grade Mexican. You can get it at $10,000 a kilo.
Well, that's not bad if it's good quality. What's the breakdown?
It's 40% good. You're getting a fat discount. You know that.
Well, that depends. 2 kilos, 10 G's apiece, $20,000.
You've got it, cash and carry.
That's a lot of scratch to get together in a hurry.
You got a whole day. No dough, no jump.
All right, I'll get it. Where's the meet?
Out by South Pasadena. They're holding a big flower show in the neighborhood. You'll meet him there. Contact me for the time.
Yeah. When'll it be? When do I meet him?
When you got to 20,000.
11:15 p.m. Red drove me back downtown and dropped me off at 4th and Main. Before we separated, he told me he'd call me early the following afternoon regarding the time of the meet with the big man, providing I had the $20,000 for the narcotics buy. 1 a.m. After stopping off at a cafeteria and then a coffee counter to make sure I wasn't being tailed, I got to a public telephone, put in a call to Captain Kearney.
South Pasadena flower show sometime tomorrow afternoon, that right?
Yeah, that's it, Captain.
All right, we'll cover it all the way.
Well, how about the money? What do you think?
You got a little with you, haven't you?
A little, yeah.
Okay, fake it the best way you know how. We'll be around. As soon as you make sure the guy has the junk with him, pass the signal, we'll move in.
Right.
Something else. You get any lead at all on the big man tonight?
No, nothing. How about you?
Good piece of luck. I think we got him spotted.
Before he hung up, Captain Kearney told me that the careful screening of tenants in the East Hollywood apartment house pointed out to them by Stan had netted a couple of prime suspects. They were an elderly couple, a Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Leslie. Besides the fact that he had a narcotics record in the East, Mr. Leslie operated a second-hand bookstore on Beverly Boulevard, which apparently was being visited often by known narcotics peddlers. Early the following afternoon, Red called me at my hotel room, and I told him I had the $20,000 for the buy. He picked me up at 1:45 p.m. I flashed a stack of money containing mostly $1 bills, and he seemed satisfied. He drove me out to the site of the flower show in South Pasadena, a large glass-domed conservatory just off the Arroyo Seco freeway.
Let's head back this way, huh?
Yep.
Sure nice flowers, huh? Just beautiful.
How many times are we going to have to cover this route? I've seen everything twice already.
Won't be long. A couple of minutes. Oh, this way. Come on. Yeah, they're sure pretty.
Look, I don't get any of this. If we got business, why can't it be in private? This your big man's idea of a joke?
It's protection, Lindsay. He's got to be careful. I guess he figures this is the last place they'd look for him.
If we make another round of this place, we'll stand out like a sore thumb.
Now, relax. You'll make the buy. Coming up right now.
What?
Come on, follow me. Tom, what do you say?
Oh, hi, Red. What do you think of my gladiola entries? Those up there. When you say they're beauties?
Yeah, they're real great, Tom.
Took me 3.5 years to get blooms like that. South African species, you know, the Chelsea type. Raised them right in a little greenhouse back of our place.
Huh?
You see, the scarlets and the whites, those are mine.
Yeah. Oh, Tom, I'd like to have you meet that friend of mine. Lindsay, this is Tom.
Hi.
How do you do? What do you think of my entries? Raised every one of them from seeds, Lindsay. They take a lot of care.
Yeah, they're all right.
Plenty of care. Especially those, the South African type. They take a good, stiff, sandy loam, quality fertilizer, just the right kind of heat and water. Takes a lot of work. Proud of them.
Yeah. Look, I haven't got too much time to spend. Maybe we better talk outside. Huh?
Yes, that takes quite a lot of work. Beautiful blooms. You have all the money with you?
All of it. You got 2 kilos?
That's correct. You can go out the side way. In red. You follow behind. Keep an eye open.
Right, sir.
This way. Sorry for the delay. It's necessary sometimes.
Yeah.
You came out in red. You double-checked you weren't followed.
I double-checked. I've been doing business longer in red.
Maybe we can make it a permanent tie. Out here. My car's this way.
You always make deals in the open, public places?
Not always. It has its advantages.
You sure this is the H I sampled now? I don't want another phony buy.
It's no phony. You can be sure of that. Here's a car. Well, the money.
Well, you show me the stuff. Red knows I got the money.
Red?
Yeah, Tom.
The money. You saw it before you brought him here?
Yeah, he showed it to me.
Right here in my pocket. Have a look if you want. Now, come on. I can't afford to camp on this thing.
All right. Keep a lookout, Red.
All right, sir.
In the car, Lindsay. There. Under the dashboard here. I always find that's the best place. You have a car, of course.
I'll go back with Red.
All right. There you are. 2 kilos. Now the money.
What about breaking the package? How do I know it's not more powdered sugar?
Of course it's not. Wait a minute. What is this? Those men coming up to the car.
Take it easy, mister.
I'm getting out of here.
Let go.
Come here.
Let go. No.
All right, Joe, I got him.
Hold him, Ed. I'll shake him down.
We got the other one. Red. No trouble.
Good. Okay, he's clean.
Red. Stupid Red. I should have known.
Joe, good work. Stuff all there?
Yeah, 2 kilos.
You want us to take him back in our car, Skipper?
All right. We'll take in the other one. Meet you at the parking lot gate. We'll follow you in.
Right. All right, mister. This way.
Look, let me ask you a favor. Won't take a minute.
Yeah?
Let me call my wife. I want to let her know what's happened. I want her to come out here and get my flowers. I got some valuable plants in that show.
That'll be taken care of. Your wife couldn't make it anyway. She was picked up an hour ago.
No, couldn't be. What's going to happen? Every dollar I own, all my merchandise, 2 kilos, best quality, all of it.
We'll take care of that. Come on, let's go.
All I got, those beautiful plants. You can do that much for me. Let me go back and get my flowers. They're prize gladiolas. It won't hurt anything, will it? Just let me take some with me. Just a few till I get back.
Why bother? They won't last that long.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 84, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. When you compare Fatima, see the difference, taste the difference, and then smoke that difference, I'm convinced that you'll switch to Fatima, because in Fatima, the difference is quality. Now, to show our confidence in Fatima, we're making a money-back guarantee to every king-size cigarette smoker. Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy Fatima quality, extra mildness, and superbly blended tobaccos. If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas before April 1st, and we'll give you your money back, plus postage. That's Fatima, Box 37, New York 1. Buy Fatima. Each king-size Fatima gives you a long, extra mild, and soothing smoke with the added protection of Fatima quality.
Thomas Leslie and William Red Forrester were filed on in the district attorney's office for violation of the State Health and Safety Code, Section 11,500. Both men were tried in Superior Court and found guilty of the charge. The violation carries a penalty of imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 5, nor more than 10 years. Because of their cooperation in the investigation and apprehension of the narcotics gang ringleaders, Stan Parrish and Max Higbee were given 1-year sentences in the county jail with 5 years probation. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Heard tonight were Barney Phillips and Stacey Harris. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Next, it's David Harding and Counter Spy on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide, special detail. There are rumors of an impending war between juvenile gangs in your city. Reportedly, members of both gangs are well supplied with homemade weapons. You don't know when the fighting will break out. You don't know where. Your job? Stop it.
Fatima, America's first largest-selling blended cigarette, now king-size.
See the difference, taste the difference, smoke the difference. And in Fatima, the difference is quality.
See the difference. Fatimas are 21% longer.
Taste the difference. Enjoy Fatima's extra mildness. Much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Smoke the difference. Get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
So why wait? Switch to Fatima today. Each king-size Fatima gives you a long, extra mild, and soothing smoke with the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 14th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working a special detail out of Homicide Division. My partner's Ed Jacobs. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 1:18 p.m. when I got to 2015 East 1st Street, the second floor. Big Juvenile Division.
Joe?
Hi. What'd you find out?
Nothing yet. Gardner had to go next door. He'll be back in a minute. Give us a rundown on the thing.
Friday, Ed.
Hi, Gardner.
Hi, how you doing?
Good to see you. How are things going downtown?
Oh, not bad. A little slow. Hear you got problems.
Lots of them. Captain brief you on any of it?
No, he told us to check with you. You'd fill us in. Said maybe you could use some help.
All we can get. We're sitting on top of a bomb out here. We don't know when it's going to go off.
What's the pitch, Gardner?
Juvenile gangs, 5 of them this time. The way we get it, they're ready for trouble, all of them.
High school kids?
Most of them. Some of them are in junior high.
Well, how come 5 gangs? What are they planning, a free-for-all?
It's a long story. They've been building up to this thing for months, all East Side kids. We hear it's supposed to be an open war.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a list of the different gangs involved.
Thanks.
You can see there, same crowds we've been riding herd on for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. We've got the Purple Heart Gang, the Blue Devils, the Apaches, Happy Valley, Rose Hill.
Here's the breakdown on each one of them. Hard to get exact figures, but we think it's fairly accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Purple Heart Gang, 26 members. Leader Harold Fry, age 17. Blue Devils, 18 members. Leaders Jack Holland, age 17, and Bertram Willis, 16. The Apaches, 22 members. Leader Robert Lawson, 17. They're supposed to be the strongest bunch.
Well.
Happy Valley Gang, 20 members. Leaders Roy Martin, 16, and Joseph Gomez, 16. Rose Hill Gang, 16 members. Leader Thomas Resnick, 18.
Yeah. Well, what's behind it, Gardner? I mean, the gang war that they're supposed to be planning.
A lot of factors enter into it, I guess. It's my own idea. The Apache gang's doing most of the promoting.
What's the object, anyway?
The usual big shot ideas some high school kids get. The Apaches figure they're going to run the whole east side. They've already scared the Happy Valley Gang and the Blue Devils into joining up with them.
Well, how'd they manage that?
I'd like to find out myself.
Well, how about the other 2 crowds there, Rose Hill and the Purple Heart Bunch?
The story I get is they won't come in with the Apaches. That's supposed to be the reason for the war. Either they join up with the Apaches or they fight them. That's the warning they got.
Really playing it big time, huh?
All the way. 16, 17-year-olds. They got gang lieutenants. They got their own cars, their own hideout. Some of them even have their girlfriends running with them. Same age. None of them over 17.
Where'd you get your information, Bill?
Half a dozen kids. Most of them from the Blue Devils and the Happy Valley Gang. They were mixed up in a couple of after-school fights in Hollenbeck Park. The stories they gave us are enough to curl your hair.
Yeah, how do you mean?
About the big war they're going to have. One of the girls we picked up gave us most of it. 15-year-old. Says her boyfriend's one of the big shots for the Blue Devil.
What'd she have to say?
Talked about it like it was some kind of a game they were playing.
Yeah.
Said the Rose Hill and the Purple Heart gangs were teaming up so they could stand up against the other 3. They've been getting ready for the war for 6 weeks. They're really organized.
I don't get it. Who's doing the organizing? Who's promoting it?
I got an idea about that. I'll get to it in a minute. Take a look at these over here.
Yeah.
Samples of the different weapons the gangs are getting together for the big fight.
Crazy kids.
Brass knuckles. Homemade saps, all kinds.
Well, what's this here, Gardner?
Have a look. Homemade stiletto. Good 6-inch blade. Kids are supposed to have dozens of them. Another one here. Look at this. Ice pick. Anything you can think of, you name it, we got it.
It's going to be wholesale murder if we can't find a way to stop it.
You been able to figure what the real trouble is, Bill?
I got an idea, yeah. You asked about the gangs teaming up a minute ago.
Yeah.
We figure we got a young Hitler on our hands. A kid by the name of Robert Lawson. He's supposed to be the ringleader of the Apache gang. Moved in about a year ago from the Middle West.
How much you know about him?
Wrote a letter to the city he originally came from. Nothing but trouble back there. Bad juvenile record. We've talked to the boy a couple of times. His parents, too. Didn't do much good. Never had enough to file a petition on him and bring him to the attention of the juvenile court. We know he's responsible for a lot of the trouble we got, but he always has some other kid do it for him. Never does it himself.
You think he's responsible for working up the gang war ideas, eh?
We figure he's our biggest problem. We've tried everything to reach the Lawson kid and settle him down. Checked with the teachers at his school, the principal, vice principal. They can't handle him. They figure on expelling him if he doesn't straighten up.
How about the other youngsters in these gangs? I mean, besides this Lawson boy here.
We've got notifications out for them and their parents. They're supposed to be in here tomorrow night, 7:30. Maybe we can break Lawson's hold on these kids.
Sure got me. What's the matter with this Lawson boy's parents? Don't they know what's going on? Can't they control him?
We tried to talk to the parents. They think we're wrong. They're proud of the kid. He's got a high IQ. They think he's a natural-born leader.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. The mother says people just don't understand the boy.
Or maybe you should have told them.
Huh?
San Quentin's full of people we don't understand. The following night, Wednesday, October 15th, the members and ringleaders of the various juvenile gangs, along with their parents, showed up at Hollenbeck Juvenile Division as requested. In questioning each of the youngsters, we definitely confirmed the reports we had of the impending gang war. The interviews also revealed that if and when the fighting did start, it would be more serious than we had first figured. For one thing, there were more youngsters involved than we thought. The gangs had been recruiting new members by the dozen in preparation for the street fights. For another thing, we found out the teenagers weren't carrying around 8-inch knives and brass knuckles just for show. If fighting started, they were ready and willing to use them. We weren't sure how much we could count on it, but after interviewing the parents and advising them how serious the situation was, they promised their full cooperation. Most of them agreed they'd maintain strict check on their youngsters and keep them out of all neighborhood gang activities. Some of the parents took a resentful attitude. They insisted the gangs were harmless. They accused us of picking on the youngsters. A few of the parents didn't even show up at the meeting. Among these were the parents of 17-year-old Robert Lawson, the boy who seemed to be promoting most of the trouble. The following morning, my partner Ed Jacobs and I drove out to his home and we talked with his mother. She was friendly but not too cooperative.
I don't know why you say that, Sergeant. I appreciate you worrying about my boy, but I'm sure it's not as bad as you think.
I don't mean to contradict you, Mrs. Lawson, but I'm afraid it is a lot worse than you think.
It's what the other officers said, too, but you really don't have any proof, do you? I mean, if you idle rumors, you certainly can't accuse Robert on that basis.
We're not accusing Robert of anything, ma'am. It's not the point. What we're trying to do is to head off the trouble before it starts.
You were living in the Middle West before you came to Los Angeles, is that right, ma'am?
Yes, that's right, Nebraska.
Well, wasn't your boy in some kind of trouble back there?
Yes, but it didn't amount to anything. Could have been avoided so easily. They just didn't understand Robert. That was the whole trouble.
Is he an only child, ma'am?
Yes, just Robert. But he's not spoiled. I know it's a great temptation with an only child, but we didn't spoil him. Robert just isn't like that.
Uh-huh. You allow him quite a bit of freedom, do you, ma'am? I mean, does he go out at night very often?
Well, he is 17 years old, going on 18. Yes, my husband and I allow him to go out as often as he likes, as long as he keeps up with his studies. Robert's always done very well. Always tops in his class.
Do you know where he spends his time when he goes out at night?
He's usually down at the gym or at the library.
You know that for a fact, do you?
I trust Robert, if that's what you mean. If he tells me that's where he's going, I believe him. The mother can't believe her own son. Who can she believe?
How about the company your boy keeps? You know any of his friends, Mrs. Lawson?
Few, yes. There's the Miller boy and Jack Holland. They seem to be fine boys.
Miller and Holland?
Yes. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with them.
Well, there is, ma'am.
What?
Both of them have juvenile records. Both of them belong to your son's gang.
Really, Sergeant, how can you say that? It isn't fair. Wouldn't it be better to try and understand these boys instead of picking on them, persecuting them?
I don't know how we're going to make you understand, Mrs. Lawson. We're not picking on them. We're not persecuting them. We know there's a gang problem. We know your boy's one of those at the bottom of it. If something isn't done, there's going to be trouble. If we're going to stop it before it begins, we're going to have your help.
I'm perfectly willing to cooperate, you know that. That must be Robert now. Excuse me. Robert? Bob, is that you?
Yeah?
Would you come in here a minute, Bob? We're in the living room.
Yeah? What do you want?
These are police officers, Bobby. This is Sergeant Friday. Sergeant Jacobs, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
How do you do?
Hi. How about something to eat? Haven't you got anything ready?
I wasn't expecting you, Bob. Won't take me a minute, though. You sit down there. I'll go out and get a snack together for you. Can I fix you a sandwich, officers? A cup of coffee?
No, thank you.
No,
thanks very much.
Won't be a minute, Bob. We were just talking about you when you came in.
What's it about, Sergeant? You want to see me, or do you just want to talk to my mother?
As long as you're here, we'd like to talk to both of you, Bob.
I got to take off pretty fast. Just came home to get something to eat. What's it about?
It's about Geronimo. That's the gang's code word for the war you're setting up, isn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Your gang, Bob, the Apaches. We talked to half a dozen of them last night down at the Juvenile Division.
Is that right?
Now, look, son, we've got the names of everybody in your gang. We know the whole setup. You go ahead with your idea, and you're going to buy a lot of trouble.
A couple of cops were here last week. They said the same thing. I don't know any more about it now than I did then. Honest. What's the pitch anyway?
You know what the pitch is, youngster.
I don't, honest. You're trying to say I'm in a gang, is that it?
You're in it up to your neck, son. Now, why don't you come off it? We've got you pegged and everybody that runs with you. That includes the girlfriends you got in the gang. You're not fooling anybody.
You must be a little crazy. I'm not in any gang. I never even heard of one around here.
Now, you listen to me, boy. You can take this as a warning or a piece of advice, either way. You and your friends keep on playing punk gangsters, and we're going to lean on you. You understand?
What is this? Trying to scare me?
If it'll make you change your mind, yeah. If this street war comes off, there's going to be big trouble. What do you think's going to happen when 200 kids tangle in a fight with knives and brass knuckles? Now, use your head.
Here you are, Bob. Nice milk, nice bowl of hot soup. Bacon and tomato sandwiches.
You always make the soup too hot.
Oh, I didn't mean to. Let it cool off for a minute, then. Bob has to eat and hurry along, officers. Is there anything else you wanted to talk to him about?
No, I think you've heard everything we have to say. I wish you'd think it over, Mrs. Lawson. You too, Bob.
Nothing to think over. They're trying to say I'm in a gang. They think I'm the leader.
You told him, didn't you, son?
Sure. They don't blame me.
I wish I could make you understand, Sergeant. He's not a gang leader. Robert's telling the truth.
Afraid he isn't, ma'am.
Well, he is. I know he is. I mean, after all, he's my son. I'm in a position to know him better than you do.
Yes, ma'am.
If he was lying, I'd know it. I wish I could make you understand. Mother's the only one who really knows her boy. I know Robert's telling the truth. Aren't you, Robert? Robert?
Huh?
That's so, isn't it? You're telling the truth, aren't you?
Sure. How about some more soup?
Before we left the house, we tried again to talk to Robert Lawson and his mother, but it was no use. She believed every word he said, and he apparently refused to believe the possible consequences of the war he was planning for his gang of juveniles. We drove downtown and had an interview with the boy's father at his work. He was even less cooperative. He took on a belligerent attitude, accused us of persecuting his son, and ordered us out of the office. Along with Sergeant Bill Gardner and Frank Kerber, we spent the rest of the afternoon and most of the following day checking with parents of youngsters who had been recently recruited into one of the various East Side gangs. Most of them were cooperative. Late that afternoon, Bill Gardner, Ed, and myself met with Captain Stein back at Hollenbeck Juvenile.
Strict curfew all over the area. We can start tonight.
What do you figure, just on the weekends?
Every night, Sunday to Sunday. I'll get some more men in to help out. Every youngster out in the street after 10 o'clock gets stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them caught with knives, saps, brass knuckles, or anything like them, they're going to be pulled in and filed on. No exceptions. Be a lot safer in custody than mixing in the gang fight.
Well, it ought to help. Might teach some of the parents a lesson anyway.
Yeah. Excuse me. Juvenile Division, Stein. Where was that? When? Yeah, right away. Let's hustle at Evergreen Avenue out near the cemetery.
Yeah, what is it?
Curfew was a good idea. We got it too late.
Huh?
Gang war, it's already started.
Before we left the office, we had communications notify all J cars on the special detail to proceed at once to the scene of the Major 415 call. 10 cars were ordered to cruise the area surrounding the actual scene of the fight and to pick up any and all members of the juvenile gangs who showed any evidence of having been in the fight or had in their possession any deadly weapon. Captain Stein, Bill Gardner, Ed, and myself left the office on a Code 3 and drove out to the scene of the gang fight. When we got there, all the J cars and 3 radio crews had the area blocked off. An ambulance crew was treating more than a dozen youngsters who had been injured during the fight. One of the youngsters had a lacerated eye. He'd been blinded. Most of the other victims would carry scars for the rest of their lives. The juveniles who'd taken part in the battle and who'd been lucky enough to escape without serious injury were being loaded into the J cars and the radio cars. They were to be removed to juvenile headquarters at 1335 Georgia Street for further investigation. Together with Bill Gardner and Frank Kerber, Ed and I began covering the area, collecting dozens of homemade weapons used in the gang fight. They'd be turned over to Pete Brown, Hollenbeck Juvenile, to be booked as evidence.
Joe?
Yeah, Ed.
Come here a minute. Over here.
Yeah.
Have a look. Piece of chain, bloodstains on it.
Lousy. How vicious can it get?
Come on. Right.
Across the street there, the car in the driveway?
Yeah.
Help him. He's hurt. Somebody help him, Bobby.
What's the trouble?
Bobby, he was in the fight. One of the gang, they stabbed him. He's in the car.
Come on.
What is it, Joe?
Take a look.
The Lawson boy, huh?
Yeah, knife in his chest.
Want me to get the doctor?
Yeah, call the coroner, too.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Fatima, America's first largest-selling blended cigarette. Now king size.
See the difference. Taste the difference. Smoke the difference. And in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, you get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. That's why week in, week out, year after year, more smokers are switching to Fatimas.
1950. Fatima sales higher than ever before in Fatima history.
1951, another record year. Fatima sales up and up. Why, in 1 month alone, Fatima sales up 110% coast to coast.
Friends, in the first months of 1952, to show our confidence in Fatima, we are making a special money-back guarantee to every king-size cigarette smoker.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy Fatima quality, extra mildness, and superbly blended tobaccos.
If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas before April 1st, and we'll give you your money back plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Remember, each king-size Fatima gives you a long, extra mild, and soothing smoke with the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Thursday, October 16th, 5:35 p.m. After the discovery of Robert Lawson's body in the car parked in the driveway adjoining the cemetery grounds, Ed brought the doctor over from the ambulance. The 17-year-old Lawson boy was pronounced dead. The doctor made out the prescribed form and marked it DOA. While we waited for the crime lab crew and the coroner to get there, Ed and I questioned the girl who'd led us to the body. She identified herself as Ann Porter, age 16. She told us she was Bob Lawson's girlfriend. She readily admitted accompanying him to the scene of the gang fight that afternoon.
I knew what it was going to be like. I knew right then. I came closer. Bob told the kids to get ready. They were a little ways from us when they stopped. The other gang, the Purple Hearts.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a kid by the name of Jumpy. He's the leader. He stepped out in front of them and called to Bob. Called him a bad name, said bad things.
This boy you called Jumpy, you know his real name, Ann?
No, Jumpy's only his nickname. I know him when I see him, though. I can point him out.
Well, what happened after he called Bob?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Everything seemed to happen at once. Bob swore at me, pushed me back, told me to get out of the way. Then he walked up to this kid, Jumpy, right in front of their whole gang. I screamed at Bob. I screamed at him not to.
Why'd you scream? What'd you do?
He had a chain under his coat. It was kind of a short whip-like. Bob had it doubled up.
Yeah.
When he went up to Jumpy, Bob had a cigarette in his mouth. He told Jumpy to light it for him. It's supposed to mean he's chicken if he does it. Jumpy laughed at him. Bob took out the chain, hit him across the face with it. Hit him with all his might.
Mm-hmm.
It knocked Jumpy down. He was laying on the sidewalk. His face was cut bad. Bob had the chain, kept hitting him with it. And somebody gave a yell, and both the gangs started fighting.
Were you close to Bob Lawson most of the time?
No, not first. There was a lot of yelling and kicking and fighting going on. I ran around and was looking for him. Finally saw Bob. I'm not sure it happened so fast.
What happened then?
I'm not sure. I thought I saw Jumpy pull a knife on Bob. Long and thin, maybe an ice pick.
Yeah.
Bobby was still hitting with the chain. It looked like Jumpy hit Bob in the chest with something right over the heart. Bobby stopped. Jumpy did it again. Bobby got white. He looked sick. He turned around and started to run.
Well, what happened then?
Bobby kept running. I knew he was hurt. I went after him. I saw him fall, but he got up. He kept running. Then one of the other gang grabbed me. They hit me.
It's all right. We understand.
I didn't find Bob until the fight was over. I heard the cops' cars coming, sirens, coming around from everywhere. I felt sick. I finally found Bob, though. He was laying in the back seat of the car, just laying there.
And that's when you called out?
Yes. I guess I knew it. As soon as I looked at him, dead white as a sheet. It ain't easy. Not when you find somebody dead, not somebody you love.
All right, youngster. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
You're lying. You know that. It won't be all right.
Take it easy, Ann.
I loved Bob. Didn't you know that? When he graduated, the first thing we were going to get married. As soon as he got out of school, we'd be married. We'd be married.
Ann? Ann?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 16. Why?
Nothing. It happens to practically everybody.
What?
People seem to make a lot of mistakes when they're 16. 6:30 p.m. The crime lab crew arrived, took pictures of the entire scene along with all physical evidence, and dusted the murder weapon, an 8-inch knife, for fingerprints. The coroner arrived, and after we'd completed our investigation, he removed the body to the county morgue. Along with a policewoman, we took Robert Lawson's girlfriend, 16-year-old Ann Porter, down to Georgia Street Juvenile Division to the assembly room.
There, a special show-up was held of all the boys involved in the afternoon's fight. The Porter girl identified a 17-year-old by the name of Warren Stone, nicknamed Jumpy, as the boy who'd stabbed Robert Lawson to death. At least a dozen other subjects in the case identified the boy by his nickname, Jumpy. 3 members of either gang involved in the fight declared in sworn statements that Warren Stone was the boy who'd attacked the Lawson boy with a homemade knife. Statements were taken from all concerned, and the ringleaders of the gangs were detained. The other subjects were released to their parents' custody after being notified that they would be filed on and a hearing held in juvenile court. Ann Porter was returned home by a policewoman. 7:55 p.m., Ed Jacobs and I took the subject, Warren Stone, to the captain's office where we tried to question him about the murder. He refused to say anything.
I told you the truth. I told you the whole story. I don't have to tell you again.
We're pretty sure you didn't tell us the truth, Warren. We know you tangled with Bob Lawson in that fight this afternoon.
No, I didn't.
We've got statements from a dozen kids, son. They say Lawson had a piece of chain. He kept slugging you with it. They say you pulled a knife and stabbed him.
How do they know? A lot of kids there had knives. Anybody could have stabbed him. Why are you picking on me?
It was your knife. It was your knife that killed him. Your initials on it.
I lost the knife in the fight. Somebody could have picked it up, used it.
No, that won't do, youngster. The handle of the knife's been processed. Your fingerprints are all over it.
How about it, son?
Warren? Come on now, what do you got to say?
Nothing. I killed him.
8:40 p.m. Warren Stone was booked in at Georgia Street Jail on suspicion of 187 PC, murder. Ed and I got in the car and drove out to the home of the murder victim to notify his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robert Lawson. Mr. Lawson wasn't home from work yet. We broke the news of her son's death to Mrs. Lawson as gently as we could. She became hysterical, and we called the family doctor, who gave her sedatives. Later, when she recovered herself a bit, she asked for the full story. We told her.
How could it happen? Bobby, how could it happen?
Sorry, ma'am. There's not much we can say. We tried everything we could to stop it.
But you didn't stop it. You let them kill Bobby. You let them kill him.
No, ma'am. We tried to warn him. We tried to warn all of them. We're sorry.
You're not sorry. You didn't try. Bob's dead. Everything I had. He's 17 years old and he's dead. I can thank you for that. My only baby.
We're sorry you feel that way, Mrs. Lawson.
Why shouldn't I feel that way? You call yourselves policemen. That boy who killed Bobby, you should have had him in jail in the first place. Young killer. Running around loose, you're as guilty as he is.
I'm not defending him, ma'am, but he wasn't a young killer. Didn't even have a juvenile record.
I don't care anything about records. He's a killer. He took a knife and he killed Bob, and you let him do it. You let him.
I think we better be going in.
Yeah.
You or your husband will have to identify the body, and tomorrow morning will be all right, the county morgue.
Dear God.
You'll have to be at the coroner's inquest, too. You'll be notified about the time and the date.
I hope you have to live with this. I hope you live with it like I have to live with it. I hope it drives you crazy.
I know how you feel, ma'am, but you're wrong. I think you'll realize that.
They murdered Bob. You let them kill him. I'll always remember that.
All right. And you remember something else. The last time we came here to your house, we tried to make you understand.
You didn't know Bobby. You didn't understand him. I was the only one. I always knew what he was thinking, what he wanted, what he was going to do. I was the only one.
No, ma'am, there was somebody else.
What?
The boy who killed him.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 7th, the hearing was held in Juvenile Court, Department 38, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that hearing.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, just as a hobby, I've been collecting early jazz records, blues and two-beat music like Leon Bix Beiderbecke used to play, and, of course, just about everything Benny Goodman has done. I've always tried to build my collection on quality. Now, in my opinion, that's the only rule to follow in choosing a king-size cigarette. Choose for quality. Believe me, I know that's what you'll find in Fatima. I know because I smoke them. If you haven't, here's what I'd like you to do. Get a pack tomorrow and compare them.
When you see the difference, taste the difference, and then smoke that difference, I'm convinced that you'll switch to Fatima. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality. Each king-size Fatima gives you a long, extra mild and soothing smoke with the added protection of Fatima quality. Next time, buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
17-year-old Warren Ernest Stone was filed on alleging violation of 187 PC, murder. The rest of the juvenile gang ringleaders were filed on alleging 242 PC, battery. They were all made wards of the juvenile court and placed in detention homes under the supervision of the State Youth Authority. They are still confined in state institutions for juveniles. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Heard tonight were Barney Phillips, Charles Smith, and Eddie Firestone. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Next, it's David Harding and Counter Spy on NBC.